Yeah, what's going on, guys? Happy Sunday. Hopefully, you guys are having a great weekend, man. Since we last spoke, I want to say possibly Tuesday or Wednesday night. There's been a lot of things that have happened in that span of time, right? But before we get into a little bit of the news, Rafael Espinoza, I wanted to see if he can be consistent. Man, I just can't help to think to myself, right, that our local fighter, Ruben Villa, right, he's been looking to become a champion ever since he came up short back in 2019, 2020 against Emmanuel Navarrete. And I can't think to myself, imagine if Ruben had to fight Rafael Espinoza to try to become a champion. Like Espinoza, after that last performance, and I was rewatching the fight that he had against Robici Ramirez, he's probably the best 126 pounder right now, champion. I would favor him because, I mean, the dude is 6'2". He's a knockout artist. He punches well. He's got extreme great length. I think he's better than Nick Ball, you know, probably Ray Vargas, probably better than El Venado Lopez. All these other champions, I think Rafael Espinoza is the best one out of all of them. So imagine if Ruben Villa, who's with Top Rank, Espinoza is with Top Rank, are the only two left, and Ruben has to fight Espinoza. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Ruben can beat him, man. But Rafael Espinoza is the real deal. That dude is really good, man. And when you're 6'2", at 126 pounds, you present a lot of challenges and obstacles that these shorter men just won't be able. I mean, look, man, getting hit in your skull by bone, by fist, especially when you're 6'2", like if you're like shorter than the dude, Espinoza is gonna be a train wreck for as long as he continues to campaign at 126. I don't think there's many people that can beat him. But yeah, man, as Venado Lopez seeks to fight the pro box fighter Angelo Leo, there's not really many options for Ruben Villa, my boy, to become a champion. So I can't help to think, like, is Espinoza next for Ruben Villa, right? Because ever since Ruben Villa lost to Emmanuel Navarrete, a lot of things, a lot of good things have happened to Ruben. He signed with Top Rank. He's like on a 4, 5, 6 fight win streak. But there's a guy named Angelo Leo fighting on Pro Box who was signed with Mayweather. After he lost to Stephen Fortson, he was like 2, 3 years removed from the sport, is on a 3 fight win streak, and he gets a shot at Venado Lopez before my boy Ruben Villa, who's already beaten El Venado, right? Now, from my interpretation is they've asked El Venado about that fight, and he says that he wants bigger and better things, whatever the case may be. But like again, just at 126. Whoa! As stacked as this 126 division is, I almost munched it off the chair. Thing's got some loose screws. um, I can't help to think, like, can Ruben beat Espinoza? I don't know, man. It's gonna be very difficult, man, because as good of IQ and athleticism and defensive prowess that my boy Villa has, Espinoza just is like another Emmanuel Navarrete. Lengthy, rangy, throws a lot of punches. It's powerful. I think Espinoza has overall better technique than Navarrete. He's not necessarily going to lunge at you with some gazelle-like uppercuts from 7 feet tall. And then as he's losing balance, he's going to throw another right hand just to offset his, equilibrium. Like Rafael Espinoza is much more traditional, but I mean, 6'1", at 6'1", fighting at 125 pounds, like that's very non-traditional. But yeah, man, it's gonna be very tough for my boy Ruben Villa if he's want to become a champion at 126. As we know, there is no easy road to ever become a champion at any particular weight class. Whether we know the fighters or they're obscure or extremely popular or they just came out of a jail stint, it doesn't really matter. To become a champion is a very difficult thing in any particular weight class. Some obviously are much tougher than most or than the others, but I don't know if my boy Ruben can be able to beat guys like Espinoza. I'm obviously going to be rooting for him, crossing my fingers and everything, but we'll see, man. Hopefully that fight could be next for Ruben after this next month that he's fighting in Las Vegas. Pero veremos. Obviously, the biggest news that's still circulating to this day after Devin Haney's beating and 420 on April, the New York State Athletic Commission, alongside Ryan, have settled. They've settled for, I don't know what the New York had in terms of punishing Ryan, but apparently, Ryan's going to get suspended for 1 year. On top of getting suspended for 1 year, he's going to supposedly do year-round drug testing. Alongside drug testing for 1 year and suspended, he had to pay a fee of like 1.1 million to Golden Boy, and possibly a small percentage of that goes to Devin Haney. So that's in terms of his capital punishment. And like we talked about months ago, I don't understand why Golden Boy or DAZN would look to put two California boys in New York. No disrespect to New York, but that fight and those fighters don't deserve to be fighting over there, right? They don't even deserve to be fighting in Las Vegas. Like, those two guys should have been fighting in California. Now, the reason I bring that is I think New York um always kind of had it in for both of these fighters. They didn't want these two dudes to succeed. It was evident when the New York Mets didn't want Ryan to throw out the first pitch in baseball after agreeing to him. They didn't really give him a reason other than, no, you're not pitching, you're not throwing that ball today. I never understood why Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia decided to take this fight over there, right? So it's very strange. It's like asking Edgar Berlanga and, let's say, Xander Zayas if there were two Puerto Rican kids to go fight in California. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You got to pander to your crowd and to your fan base. Not saying there's not a lot of New Yorkers that support these two fighters. It's just not the same that if they were going to get it in Ryan Garcia, let alone legislation and all of these, they were gunning after Ryan, but being like what I said on Wednesday, I expected actually a harsher punishment for Ryan Garcia. I think being banned for 1 year from the sport of boxing is probably not a lot of time for Ryan Garcia. I mean, you got to understand, given the context and all the evidence tampering that Ryan was doing, sending open packages to drug testing agencies, blaming everybody, not taking accountability, right? These are the phrases that I've always consistently used in like the past 3 months. But all of these things, all of these shenanigans that Ryan is essentially getting away with, to only serve 1 year banned from the sport, it's not a long time. I mean, it's not like Ryan fights every 4 months anyway. This dude fights maybe once or twice a year, right? It's pretty crazy. I thought they were going to make an example of Ryan, and he was going to beat the Pete Rose. Whatever Pete Rose is for baseball being banned for life for like sports gambling, I thought Ryan was going to serve a relatively long sentence, But be that as it may, now that there is a verdict, now that there is the consequences of Ryan, it might not stop here. And apparently, according to Devin, it's not stopping here for Devin. A lot of people are saying that Devin can't take his loss like a man. So many people are losing respect for Devin Haney. And Devin Haney put out a little disclaimer saying that his mental, is affected his business, it's affected his health, and all of these other extracurricular things that are going on in his life, as evident from the Sander Martin purse bid. Like, Devin is taking this loss like it's the loss of his career, as if he was put on a coma, as if, he's handicapped and no longer able to make money. And the reality is his stock has dropped. I mean, all of these things are just common sense. Usually when you take a loss, your stock goes down. With that being said, what Devin is doing now, I can't blame him, because at the end of the day, it's like, all right, now that the New York State Athletic Commission is punishing you, now it's my turn to punish you, Ryan. Sure, you made this fight into a no contest. That's great. You know what I mean? We shoot for disqualification, but, we settle for a no contest. On top of that, Now that the New York State Athletic Commission has suspended you, now let's see what I can do. So Devin is basically saying like, all right, bro, I want some, uh, I want some money from you. I mean, because what else can Devin take from Ryan? You already stripped the dignity in terms of the victory, right? So it's stripped off the record. Now you're going after Ryan Garcia's pockets. It's going to be very interesting to see if that's. I've never seen a case like that. How many fighters do you know that have popped dirty and then the other fighter sues them? You know, like for example, look at Pritchard Colon. He got hit so many times behind the head, right, against that black fighter that he was facing. You never heard Pritchard Colon's family put a lawsuit on boxing, or unless I haven't heard about it. Maybe there is one, but I don't think Pritchard Colon's family sued the referee for incompetence. Pritchard Colon actually has a case. He's like, dude, I was telling you throughout the whole fight that this dude keeps hitting me behind the fucking head. Why didn't you guys stop the fight? I mean, if there was a list of people that Pritchard Colon can sue, he can sue the whole New York or wherever it is that fight took place, that type of commission. He can sue the referee, but to my knowledge, Pritchard Colon, none of those fighters did that. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of times that fighters, even guys like Dylan White and who he's beating, and all these other drug tests that got caught, you never see them sue. Look at Robson Conceição. My boy Oscar Valdez failed the drug test. You didn't hear Conceição, the Brazilian, sue him or sue the Arizona commission. You didn't even see them. So Devin Haney is walking on uncharted territories. Maybe this will become and setting a trend for all these other fighters. Like, let's say my boy Jose Ramirez fights a guy like Josh Taylor, and Josh Taylor beats him for that match in Undisputed back in 2019, right? And let's say Josh Taylor fails a drug test. Jose Ramirez would be like, damn, bro, I got my ass dropped twice. I got an L on my record. I'm not undisputed. My stock has fallen down. What if Jose Ramirez were to sue a Josh Taylor? Let's just say this fight didn't happen. Let's say like happened 4 years, like in the next month or so, right? It could set a precedent, maybe a good or a bad one, and maybe things like that can clean up the sport of boxing, because we have to ask ourselves, man, what are we doing here? Are we trying to see the best fight the best? And if we are, do we care at what particular context we see these under, right? Like for instance, do we want to see 50-50, the best fight the best? We do so, but under clean boxing rules or no boxing rules, right? Boxing, it's one of those sports that, and just like many sports, there's no such thing as 50-50. Someone's going to have either home field advantage. They don't have the same level of IQ or pop or hand speed or power, height, age. Like, there's no such thing as 50-50, right? And that's the beauty about these sports. Sometimes it's in with the new, out with the old. Sometimes fighters like Tank Davis don't want to fight Lomachenko when they're both in their prime. He'll wait 10 years after the fact, and then he finally finds the balls to fight Lomachenko. And a lot of people will be like, well, I still want to see that fight. I'm kind of weird. I still want to see that fight, but at the same time, I don't, because many years ago, we got something like that. Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. And how great was that fight? It was a shell of itself. It was not great. Not for that money, right? And when those fights don't live up to that standard and 4.4 million people pay for those pay-per-views, then you're like, man, boxing is dead. We're in a really good place in boxing right now where it's garnishing a lot of people's attention. I feel like more than ever, there's a lot of podcasts out there and ex-retired fighters that are continuously talking about the sport of boxing. And there's a lot of influencers, and we're in a great space in the sport of boxing right now, where it feels like the fans are getting their voice heard, and any kind of complaints, the sport of boxing is trying to clean up. We're seeing a lot of like tumultuous results, right? There's been the blitz of Bud Crawford fans that just demolished every single spirit of the Texan, right? Of Errol Spence and their fan base. Ryan to Devin. I mean, there's been a lot of amazing and shocking upsets. Like, this is an amazing time, not just big fights. So I can go down the list of last year, how 2023 was amazing, right? We can go through the list of amazing fights that has put boxing on the map again. And, for better or worse, this Haney versus Ryan is not going to end here. We talked about it, how like We first have to see what the New York State Athletic Commission does. We have to wait till the results of the drug test come. And now after Ryan has failed and all the slandering and defamation that he did against all of those products, super carb, the ayahuasca, stress relieving pills that he was doing, Prime, blaming Victor Conte and Vada, like all of those agencies can sue him. And Devin Haney is probably the leading person to do that so far right now in terms of my understanding of putting on a lawsuit. I know that Prime put a cease and desist letter for Ryan to basically shut your mouth or we're going to sue you. Maybe they're still pressing charges, but I know Devin is. I don't know if Devin's going to be compensated. This isn't a case of double jeopardy where you're being tried for the same defense. No, it's just there are more perks. Everybody has a different case against Ryan, and Ryan should have just stayed his mouth quiet. But we'll see, man. Happy Sunday to you, Vince. Ruben will have some tests coming up almost at any title shot. Man, I agree. I agree, man. It's not going to be easy. The Venado Lopez rematch, that wasn't going to be an easy one. If Ray Vargas would have given Ruben an opportunity, that'd be great. I think that would be the path of least resistance between all the 4 champions, that are remaining, like Nick Ball. I think Ruben can beat Nick Ball, but that would be a tough fight. Obviously, I think he would be able to beat Venado Lopez, but when they first fought, I mean, that's like almost not 10 years ago, but that's like 6 years removed, and Venado has gotten better. And then, of course, I hope Ruben doesn't go the route of Espinoza, just because I feel like that should be the last man standing. But yeah, man, it's gonna be extremely difficult for Ruben to become a champion. But when he becomes a champion, the victory is gonna be that much sweeter. Yeah, I seen that Haney wants Garcia to pay for his beat down. Yeah, Vince, that's very strange, man. I've never seen this, man. So I'm very intrigued about that lawsuit. Like, what would be his what is his grounds? Okay, Ryan did fail a drug test. Okay, but you had, your own defense, your own strength, your own 2 fists to get him to stop, right? Haney had, you're a boxer, Haney. You're supposed to fucking fight. And see, Devin Haney and his father, they got beaten in the so-called streets. Ryan hustled them. They outsmarted the Devin and the Haney family, right? They beat the shellacking out of them. And they can't live with themselves. That's the true reality. You see? Haney, look, Ryan is not he wasn't in the best mental state that a fighter could be. He was going through a lot of stuff, Ryan, and he's continuing to go through a lot of stuff. But he still had enough mental strength, physical strength. With all of the shenanigans that Ryan was doing and, trying to be like the Alex Jones, the truth seeker in boxing, and try to bring down these 1%ers or whatever it is that he was battling with and bringing attention to and saving the children and all of these things, he still had enough focus, raw speed, strength, IQ to beat Devin Haney. If I'm Devin Haney, I'd be quite fucking embarrassed. You get what I'm saying? And that's exactly where Devin Haney is at. Hopefully he doesn't want $1 off nothing from Ryan. I've never seen this happen. Like, there's no precedent where I can go back in time where I see a fighter sue another fighter for drug testing. It's like, it doesn't really happen that often, Not saying that it's an underlying rule, but for the sake, for any single thing that we know about the sport of boxing being a gentleman's sport, you usually don't sue the other fighter when he beats your ass. Now, of course, we've never seen a fighter that took a L has to sue the other fighter because it was drugs or he was on drugs. We don't really see that happen. You know what I mean? I don't even think Miguel Cotto, right? Miguel Cotto, when Antonio Margarito on the Shane Mosley fight got caught with the plaster of Paris, right? And there was video evidence or photos. Miguel Cotto never sued Antonio Margarito, right? That probably wasn't even in his head. And talk about a fighter that was undefeated, pound for pound as well, right? A golden child, a poster boy for Top Rank at the time, Miguel Cotto, suffered a horrible beating against the hands of Antonio Margarito, and Miguel Cotto never pressed charges. right? Even though I don't think Margarito got caught in the Cotto fight, he got caught in the Mosley fight, but Mosley was still able to fuck up Margarito. You get what I'm saying? Now, people assume that once a cheater, always a cheater, so he must have cheated Miguel Cotto because there's no way a flat-footed Mexican can beat Cotto. But as we know about the sport of boxing, is that you don't have to be so athletic and defensively sound to whoop another man's ass. Being flat-footed allows you to have a lot of kinetic energy and, you know, turn your hips and land a lot of punches and take a good punch because you're got a good staggered stance on you. Your legs are underneath you. You're planted to the ground. That means you can pivot and throw hellacious body shots or power punches. Anyway, and if you have a great chin, that hawking, stalking style of offense can hurt and get you a lot of W's. Anyway, so one can say that Devin Haney isn't behaving like a fighter. He isn't behaving like a fighter, right? In terms of, you know, trying to get your lick back, this dude got beat up in these streets, and now he's taken into the courtroom. That's funny, man. I just think it's historical. Like, it's a historical moment that's occurring right now, and it's hysterical, right? It's almost a laughing matter, and Devin Haney is becoming a laughing matter in the sport of boxing. Like, no one is respecting the decisions of oh boy, and that's some funny shit. But I don't know, man. But I know that Ryan needs to lawyer up. For sure, he needs to lawyer up. Because if he doesn't, man, he's got to be really careful. You know, there's many ways that Ryan can still continue to make money, even off this 1-year suspension. He can fight a lot of influencers in exhibition matches. He can go on that slap tournament where you see a lot of people slapping themselves. I mean, there's so much money that Ryan can do if he were to essentially lose it all. Vince goes, ESPN doesn't have Villa on the list on the 10 best on his division. Wow. That's interesting. I mean, like when you mean by that, it's like, is that all of ESPN's fighters on the top 10, or you mean per his division? That's pretty shocking that they don't have Villa in the top 10 at 126. Because I think even like other sanctioning bodies, they do. There's like at least 3 of them that have them, and I think even BoxRec might have Ruben Villa in the top 10. I think they had him at 8 last time I checked. But you might check it out. Yeah, even BoxRec has Ruben Villa listed at number 9 worldwide and number 4 representing Team USA. That's interesting that they don't have him on the top list. But yeah, man, I mean, look, Ruben Villa versus Espinoza, I would have to favor Espinoza, man. You know, because Ruben Villa, after the 6-fight win streak, I'm thinking to myself, come on, Top Rank, why isn't Ruben Villa fighting Robeisy Ramirez? Give me like an Isaac Dogbo or Joey Gonzalez, somebody that I know that's been there, either an ex-champion or like on the cusp of being a champion. Stop fighting these recycled fighters. Like, get him like a measuring stick where we can like correctly rate Ruben, right? Like, I want to see him versus a Robeisy Ramirez. I don't like, so I would have to favor Espinoza to beat Ruben Villa, because Robeisy Ramirez, like Ruben Villa, they're southpaws, equal height, got the Olympian background. So I would have to favor Espinoza due to those like circumstances, you know. You're right. Haney and his team got embarrassed. Fans think Haney will never be the same because of the way he lost. Absolutely. And I'm gonna highlight that comment, Vince, because that's exactly right here. Did I highlight it? Wait. Oops. Yeah. Because the way Devin Haney's actions, right? It almost seems like he won't be able to recover from this loss, right? Not only do they feel embarrassed, not only has their stock gone down, but the whole world bared witness of what happened and the crying of Devin Haney. You see, Deontay Wilder, when he got his ass beat by Tyson Fury all of those fights ago, he lost a lot of stock as well, and he never was the same fighter. He could not beat Tyson Fury. And all of the excuses came when he started blaming Mark Breland and insinuating a bunch of things, and there was a conspiracy against him, and like how he, the I don't know, shredder suit that he wore was too heavy and his legs were tired and all of these things. When he started making all of these excuses, not only was Deontay Wilder never the same, but his fans didn't support Deontay Wilder after that. Now you can say like, oh, well, the second rematch and the third rematch, they did great numbers or whatever the case may be. But I'm saying like after all of the like smoke was settled, Deontay Wilder, I mean, who was he fighting afterwards? And they were basically doing like 35,000 pay-per-view buys. You know what I mean? With Haney, you can already see the effects coming to light. No one bid for his Sander Martin fight. Top Rank did. And then, I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but then Devin Haney tried to blame Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, being as savvy as he is, he's had a beautiful rebuttal towards Devin Haney's actions. He's like, dude, you show no loyalty to us, right? Everything that you've gone back and forth, signing with us to Top Rank and all these other promotional companies, that's only good for your business. You didn't pledge your loyalty to us. I have, I don't know, 300 fighters on my matchroom roster that have pledged their loyalty to us, that are signed under our contracts for X amount of years and fights. And guess what? They are my priority. You are just a random dude that, like, there's no strings attached with you. So why would I bid? Like, this is not good business for me to bid on this fight with you and Sander Martin. It's the fight that I want you to take because it's good to get you back into like a tough title shot. I mean, you're a champion, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a good title contender, Sander Martin. If you can beat him, you still on the top 15 type of thing, rather than trying to unify with Matias or Paul or whatever these other champions are at 140. Like, it's a good comeback fight for Devin Haney. But Devin Haney feels salty. And once he realized that he's only going to get paid, I mean, it's still really good money, but there's no upside in terms of pay-per-view upside. It's not a mega fight. Devin was like, damn, bro, I got to sue Ryan Garcia. I have to go ahead and sue this dude because I gotta try to recover some of this money that I'm not going to be able to make. And then towards those similar actions, we know Ryan Garcia has to announce that he's retired. But Devin Haney essentially announced that he's retired as well, or he's going to take a break and spend a bunch of money for, until Ryan comes back. So not only is he basically letting us know, dude, I am not the same. I am mentally fragile right now. Like, Ryan is going through all of these things, right? A lot of his self-inflicted wounds, but Ryan is going through all of these things. And Haney is essentially going through one thing, getting his ass beat. But he wants to take a break from the sport 2 or 1 year. Like, Haney, you didn't get suspended, right? You're not the one doing year-round drug testing, right? Only in camp when VADA's testing you. Like, you don't have to expel yourself from the sport and remove yourself until Ryan Garcia comes back. I know you got paid handsomely, and I know you want some of that money or more money with the rematch. But, dude, nobody wants to, like, everyone's losing respect on you. Yeah, emotional damage for sure, bro. Like, that's the best way to put it. Like we understand why Ryan has to remove himself from the sport, but why are you removing yourself from the sport, Devin? You can't remove yourself from the sport. You can't take a 1 year or 2 year break from the sport because you are actually a champion, which means you have mandatories, which means that you have to, answer to people. And they basically give you stipulations and fight dates. And the next 90 days or the next 30 days, you have to start negotiating with X fighter from Exhibit A or Exhibit B. You can't just take a break from the sport because they'll strip you. And the only reason why Devin Haney is relevant is because of those belts, which is why you went through accumulating these belts way back at 135, because you were not getting big fights at 135 until you became a champion. All right. So there's fighters that have to go the route of becoming a champion to get big fights. Devin Haney, Ruben Villa, to be known. And then there's other fighters like Tank and Ryan that can circumvent and never really be legitimate champions and, still be popular because they, accumulated their fan base a different way, not necessarily through the boxing route. Anyway, if Devin Haney gets stripped, mentally, that was the only reason why you had strength or relevance in the sport of boxing. If you got to start from scratch, no one's really catering to your fights or pandering to you and your fan base. Like, They don't care about you, Devin. They really don't. The powers that be don't care about you. Ryan and your mandatories essentially don't care about you if you don't have one of those belts, right? So that's what when it comes down to that situation, it's going to be very interesting. We've never seen a fighter that took in an ass beating and sue the opposing fighter for getting your ass beat. Like, you never seen that. You don't see Rocky Fielding or Billy Joe Saunders suing Canelo Alvarez for, like Vince says, the emotional damage that they receive, broken eye socket. No, those are the repercussions of the sport of boxing. You signed up for it. You knew what was capable or what the repercussions are of this brutal ass sport. I don't know. I don't know what Devin's grounds are to sue Ryan Garcia other than like he was a fraud. He was under the influence when he beat me. Under the influence. I don't know, dude. That's crazy. All right, man. But yeah, man. Espinoza, Ruben Villa, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Shocking results. So Luis Lopez, El Venado Lopez, is going to be fighting Angelo Leo, right? I think he's fighting them August 10th, right? He's fighting El Chinito, Angelo Leo. And it's going to be taking place on ESPN. And ever since Lopez lost, I want to say to Ruben Villa, I think we have to recollect our thoughts, where Venado came from. When he lost to Ruben Villa back in, 2018, 2019, just like Ruben has had like 6 comeback fights ever since the Emmanuel Navarrete loss, Luis Lopez is on a 13 or a 14 fight win streak. And a lot of those 13 and 14 fight win streak are by knockouts. All right. The world loves knockout artists, right? They love consistent knockout artists. And Luis Alberto Lopez is one of those guys, right? He's knocked out that Japanese fighter, Rhea Abe. He went to the decision with Joet Gonzalez, knocked out Michael Conlon, beat Josh Warrington, knocked out Yasin Vargas, basically knocked out Gabriel Flores. His dad didn't stop the fight, but, Gabe Flores from Stockton took a beating, man. So Venado Lopez on a 13-fight win streak. A lot of them have been by knockouts, and he's fighting El Chinito Angelo Leo on ESPN. Look, man, 126 is a spicy division, and it could get even spicier once Naoya Inoue goes up there. I don't know if Naoya will. There's a lot of relevant fights for him still that he can kind of like milk the 122-pound division and take out more money. He can wait for Junto Nakatani to move up in weight. Hell, as all of these 126-pounders are waiting for Naoya to move up, Naoya can continue to wait at 120. As we saw, quote-unquote, him being exposed against Luis Neri when he got knocked down viciously in the first or second round. I've always said this. Naoya is really good for a small fighter, but he's not a great fighter. And if you were to try to fluctuate all of these weight classes, I don't see him dominating that much. Because you have to understand, the best fighter on his resume is Nonito Donaire. And when he fought him the first time, Nonito was 36 years old. And he broke your jaw. And it was a brutal fight. Rearranged your face as well. Then when you fought him in the rematch, you knocked him out in 2 rounds. And he was 38 years old after Nonito beat that Frenchman, Dubali. And, he went on a 2-fight win streak, got 1 belt back, and he unified to become undisputed. But if you really look at, we talk about things and, a lot of people are like, well, Naoya Inoue is a 2-time undisputed fighter, But if you look at the weight classes, let's say Naoya started fighting at 114 pounds. I think he's a 4-time division, but I got to check my facts on real quick. But I think Naoya is 2-time undisputed and a 3 or 4-time divisional champion, right? But he only was undisputed at 122 and 118 pounds and was probably a champ at 114. So between 114 to 122 pounds, that's only 8 pounds that he's covering, right? Where, for instance, David Benavidez was a champion at 168, moved up 7 pounds to 175. That's just one division. in that amount of span of weight, no, fucking Naoya was a champ in 3 weight classes, just moving up 8 pounds. So that's what I'm trying to say. When it comes down to pound for pound, all of these like lower weights, they don't hold the same significance in weight. So for example, we talked about this in the past. I don't know how low the straw weight division is, but let's say it's like 104 pounds. You can be 104, 108, 112, 116, 118, 122, 126. And I just became from 108 to 122. That's only 16 pounds or 14 pounds. I'm already a 5-time divisional champion, right? That's not a lot. It's really not a lot, right? So for that same token, that same metric, Canelo can only be a 4-time champion, moving up basically 30 pounds from 147 to 168, 31 pounds. And it's just like, wow, dude, that's not even the same amount of like weight to become the same level. Like they don't hold the same significance. Being a 4-time divisional champion at those smaller weight classes versus, welterweight and above, the weight disparity is not even comparable. Anyway, so Naoya, as all of these 126 pounders are waiting for Naoya to go up there, Naoya can wait for guys like Bam Bam, Sonny Edwards to move up to 122 pounds. Might take a couple of years, but Naoya is already like 31. So I don't really see Naoya going up to 130, 135, And to be honest with you, I really don't want to see Naoya go up there in those weight classes. If he wants to, go ahead, but I still feel like there's a lot of great fights south of 126 that he can engage on. But those 126 pounders, Espinoza, Venado Lopez, I don't know, Brandon Figueroa, all of those champions at 126, you guys have to unify one another. Once you guys become unified, then that will entice Naoya to be like, okay, I don't have to fight 4 champions. I only have to fight the last man standing between those unified or undisputed champs at 126. And then boom, that's how you'll get that mega fight. But if you just keep on waiting, Naoya is just going to keep continuing to milk 122 and never move up. He will never move up to 126 if there's 4 different champions. See, when he moved up to 122 when he knocked out Donaire at 116 or 118 pounds, see, it was easy because he only had to get through to 2 champions. If he beats 14, he's already unified. So then he just has to fight the other fighter, which was Marlon Tapales or MJ Akhmadaliev. Once he beats those in 2 fights, boom, he's undisputed all over again, which is basically what essentially occurred. 126-pound fighters have to do the same thing as well. He's not going to go up to 126 and fight 5 or 6 fights just to become undisputed. At this time and space, Naoya is like, nah, dude, I can fight, these unknown dudes at 122 in Japan and sell out stadiums just because my fans want to see me in Japan. Japanese, they don't care about Naoya going up to 126 or 135 and fighting Tank Davises of the world. They don't care. They just want to see his countrymen continue to win and knock out people in Japan. You know what I'm saying? That's what Tim Tszyu should have been doing. But, he listened to the American fans and came out here and lost to the basketball player in Fandora. Vince goes, pretty soon fighters are going to have to sue refs for not stopping the fight in time, even though the corner has the power to do so. Absolutely, Vince. Like, that's a very good point. Going back to the Pritchard Cologne situation, a lot of times you can blame the referee. You can blame the ring doctor, right? You can try to blame the commission for allowing stacking of the hand wraps or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of clauses that fighters can actually try to sue. But under the context of this is a brutal sport, you know what you signed up for, where is that little line where it gets crossed? I don't know if Devin has any grounds to sue Ryan Garcia. Like, what are you going to sue him? For him being a fraud? Okay, he didn't make weight. Yeah, but he paid us a penalty. Okay, he failed a drug test. I've never seen any fighter that, we've just never seen it happen. But yeah, I'm sure that there is like some rules where fighters can't sue the referees, But yeah, I mean, a fighter could also sue the corner and his trainer, there's been, I don't know how many times, but for instance, let's look at Derrick James in the Errol Spence situation. The trainer is suing the fighter, right? The trainer is suing the fighter because you didn't pay me, I don't know, pay-per-view upside or the 10% of your fight purse versus Bud Crawford. Errol says that he has. But let's say the tables were flipped. Let's say Errol Spence decided to put a lawsuit on Derrick James for not stopping the fight, right? Even though Derrick James probably would never stop the fight. But if you're seeing your fighter get pieced apart, not being competitive, your face is being rearranged, your eyes are closing, your nose and your mouth are bleeding, you just been dropped 2 times, right? When do you make that judgment? Be like, all right, dude, you got to save the fighter from himself, because the fighter is like a warrior. He'll fight till the death. The trainer has to protect the fighter as much as the ref, the doctor, and whoever can stop the fight. So imagine if Errol Spence tried to sue Derrick James for like, hey, dude, you didn't save my life, and now I got this big ass hematoma in my head, and I've suffered some type of brain aneurysm, or you know what I mean, or something like going on in my brain because you didn't do, because you're such a tough trainer that you would never think about stopping a fight. Like, imagine that was a clause right now. That would be shocking. Like the sport of boxing, like nobody would want to take that risk, because you can get sued for pretty much any single like context of situation. By that metric, I don't think you can have Devin win that lawsuit against Ryan Garcia. Because this isn't just like any other sport. Like, for example, if they allow Devin to win that lawsuit against Ryan Garcia, imagine you are a badass pitcher in baseball, Vince. Let's say you're an Oakland A's pitcher and you're a starter, like Barry Zito. And let's say you're a Cy Young Award winner or on the cusp of winning Cy Young Award. You have 13 wins so far out of the year. You haven't suffered a loss. Your ERA is under 2. You're sporting 175 strikeouts to like 32 walks. You're dominant. You're one of the best elite pitchers so far before the All-Star break. And here comes a home run hitter, Rick, stepping up to the plate, and bases are loaded. You're in the 8th inning trying to put a no-hitter, and boom. Hey, wait, doesn't make sense. I said the bases are loaded, you're pitching a no-hitter, and then boom. Like, no. Let's just say it's 0-0 ball game, okay? And I hit a home run off you, right? And essentially we win the game, Giants versus the A's, and we beat you guys 1-0. Let's say from that point on, you continue to lose and your confidence is never there, like Greg Maddux. Your confidence is always waning, and then you were a top contender to win the Cy Young Award, the MVP for the pitchers in baseball. But since I raked that home run off you, guess what? You went on to have 7 consecutive starts as losses that ended up as results of losses. So imagine you try to sue me under that context. Look, man, I'm suing Rick because ever since, he hit that, game-winning home run hit off me, I lost so much confidence and momentum. I was never the same. When I pitched with an uncontrolled nervousness in my system. My body was shut down. I lost 10 miles per hour. If I tried to throw hard, I was very inconsistent, hitting the backstop, bouncing the ball off the plate, hitting batters. I just lost that on my control. You know what the psychologist or the sports psychologist or the team would trade me in a fucking heartbeat. They would trade you in a heartbeat, sorry. You know what I mean? They'd be like, what do you do? This is competition. So Devin suing Ryan, like, bro, on what grounds? You the only ground that you have is Ryan was a fraud or he failed the drug test. What took place in the ring, that was your fucking fault because your defense and your incompetence wasn't, like, dude, Ryan's a mental case. You got beat by somebody mentally in that fight or someone mental in that fight. Dude, you were a favorite like 8-1 going into it. The only grounds that you have is turning Ryan Garcia's W into a no contest. That's as far as lenient we're going to be for you. You ain't going to win no fucking money. You already got paid. Whether wins or losses, you already got paid for your fight. Now you're trying to take any more money from Ryan. He didn't slander you. There's no defamation suit on him beating you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, like the other companies can sue Ryan for that. You had a competitive, like in the name of competition, you had the same 2 hands that Ryan has. You have the same 2 legs that Ryan has. You have Vada and Victor Conte and their juicing experts to help you get the upper hand, right? Ryan was drinking in the weigh-in. The dude was a mental case, and you could not beat him. Devin, you're just not good. Get this lawsuit out of my fucking courtroom. That's as fast as that conversation needs to take place. You know, that's crazy. Vince goes, ha, that would never happen. That bat flip and stare down after the home run made me feel a certain way. Dude, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, in the name of competition, Devin, what are you talking about, bro? Like, Miguel Cotto would never try to do that against Margarito. He wouldn't sue Margarito, bro. Manny Pacquiao, when it looked like Juan Manuel Marquez was on the juice, when he signed with Memo Heredia and he got all strong, he had back acne, and he slept Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was slept unconscious for like 3 minutes. Did you think Manny Pacquiao, as a fighter that he was going to embarrass himself and his people and his country and try to sue Juan Manuel Marquez? But here's little Devin Haney from little Oakland, California, gonna try to get away with that, bro. Stop it, bro. But anyway, man, what a fucking pansy, bro. That I can't respect, man. That's crazy to me. Adi Medi, bro, happy Sunday to you, man. He goes, greetings from the Philippines. Devin isn't a warrior. Devin and Bill complaining have tainted their legacy. I agree. I'd be mad too if I'm completely Haney and paid the rev to help me and he didn't save me. Yeah, shout out Harvey Doc. I want a refund, but Harvey Doc has no refund policy. He has a no refund policy. Yeah, man. Dude, he had the ref, Harvey Doc, backing and trying to save Devin Haney. He took away a point for Ryan Garcia. Bro, like Ryan Garcia was probably high when he fought Devin Haney, right? And he still beat Devin Haney. And Ryan had sympathy towards Devin Haney and Bill. Because I think it was in that 10th or 11th round when he hurt Devin again. And Ryan is looking at the permanent damage on the jawline of Devin Haney. And he's like, damn, bro. Like, yo, Bill, stop this shit. I don't want to put your son in a... I'm not trying to kill your boy. Save your boy. And Bill was like, no. You know, the reality, Adi and Vince, is Devin Haney should be suing his father. You know, because I'm pretty sure it was Bill Haney was like, yo, Devin, yeah, bro, tell that dude to pay you $500K for every pound that he missed. On top of that, we can still beat this dude. You know what I mean? And Devin was like, see, papa, we can beat this dude. See, papa, you know? And then when Devin Haney was, you know, his head was like scrambled eggs and his brain was like all fucking woozy doozy, you know, Ryan's looking at Bill, yo, hey, Trill Bill, yo, dog, stop this fight. And Bill was like, nunca, bro, nunca. I'll never stop this fight till death do us part. You know, and Ryan was like, all right, watch me. Boom, boom, 2-3. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's who Devin should be suing. He should be suing his father for the bad, like, incompetence of the corner instructions, for not stopping the fight, for, for telling, like, Devin should have walked away when Ryan didn't make weight, but Bill was like, nah, bro, that's $500K. That's 2.4. We can buy another house in Henderson, Las Vegas. You get what I'm saying? That's the reality of what happened. That's a truth conversation. They don't want to talk about it, though, you know? ID goes, I still remember when Bill was talking to the commentators and his son was getting his ass whooped and he stopped talking and ran to the corner. Dude, I'm telling you, bro. Like, they couldn't, they were unprepared. They were unprepared for what Ryan was going to do. Look, it wasn't like Ryan did anything new. You didn't see no Lomachenko footwork from Ryan. You didn't see jab, jab, cross. You didn't see jab, jab, uppercut. You know what I'm saying? It was just a left hook. It was just a left hook. It wasn't the fastest. I mean, it was a good left hook. You know what I mean? But he just punched with you. Took that jab away. Every jab that you threw, I'm going to throw power. You get what I'm saying? Like, Ryan wasn't fainting a little bit. There was no body punches, but yet Devin had a shoulder roll protecting his, like, what are you protecting your body for? Ryan is not a prolific body puncher. He's not known to target the body. Sure, he knocked out Luke Campbell with a body shot, but he's never been able to do that against any other fighter. Why are you protecting your body? Protect your fucking fragile chin, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're dumb, bro. They're dumb. That court, Judge Judy or Judge Joe Brown, he's going to look at this lawsuit and be like, yo, Devin, you're a fighter, right? You compete. I can't. This has no grounds. This has no grounds. There's no grounds for you to win anything here. They already stripped the W, made it into a no contest. That's as far as we go with that. I don't know. We'll see, man. We will see. All right, man. Chris Algieri goes, I don't think that we'll see Ryan Garcia near 140 again. Well, he hasn't fought at 140 for a really long time, besides the Tank Davis fight. But even before the Tank Davis fight, he was fighting like at 144 when he fought like Javier Fortuna and all of those guys, Duarte. Those were fights not even 40. To be honest with you, Ryan Garcia's frame and height, he's probably walking around 161, 163 pounds. When he rehydrated up against Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia was probably like 165, to be honest with you. Kid was really big, man. So he's probably a middleweight. If anything, Ryan should be fighting at welterweight for a really long time. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrios. There's a lot of good fights for Ryan, but just like anything, I just hope he stays dedicated to his craft and actually just takes this time to just get away from the sport of boxing, you know, reap the benefits of whatever is left after the dust settles and all of these lawsuits drop, and just stay with his parents and his mom, you know. And once he does that, he can come back, you know, with a definitely a great fighting spirit and maybe like just more sense to his name. And then you can try to look to become an actual legitimate champion. You know, Ryan, for all intents and purposes, for all of the good or bad that he's done, he's still yet to be called a champ. You know, like he hasn't officially became an official champ sporting any of those 4 sanctioning bodies. So that's a little long overdue. Ryan needs to become one. On top of that, you know, we don't know. Devin might never be the same, and Ryan might never be the same. You know, it all depends on how a fighter interprets it. You know, if Devin wants to take a break and a recess from the sport, go ahead. But are you still going to be training or not? Or is this loss? You see, this is the thing with American fighters is they put so much weight on one loss that once they suffer that defeat, or, you know, let me rephrase. They put so much emphasis on an undefeated resume and a record that once they suffer their first defeat, look at Adrian Broner. When he suffered that first defeat against Marcos Maidana, never the same. Could this happen to Devin? Is this why Tank and Shakur and Devin, they plot their, you know, matchmake their careers a certain way? Because once they lose, they know that it's like Tyson Fury. Look at his loss against, like, this dude is like drinking and his head is bouncing off the concrete, falling down on his knees, coming out of an unknown bar. You get what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, yes, a loss is strange and very difficult and at times to cope with, but how you go about interpreting it, right, is much more important than the actual results of said fight, especially if it's a competitive bout. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's a situation like it was a Pritchard Cologne situation or Donna Stevenson and Wolzdick where, you know, you get placed in a coma or whatever the case may be, then, of course, then you can be like, well, fuck, dude, a defeat is the end of the world in that type of context. But if it was like that you were still like competitive, more or less, and you still went the distance, like, bro, it's okay. Like, you just got it wrong. You know, shake off the dust, you know, regroup, go back to the drawing board and try to get it right. You know, but if you make it like the end of the world and you take a break and, you know, you're going out there back to your home country in Ohio and you think you're the toughest man on the block and you start buying Glocks and, you know, start living that thug life and, oh, I'm about that street life, then no, dude, like, you're going to ruin your whole career, broner. So as long as Devin Haney don't do stupid shit like that, then we'll be fine. You know what I mean? Warp Speed goes at the homie Ricky, at Vince Vargas, and at Adimed. Good morrow, fine gentlemen. It's the day of our Lord, and the sun is bright and warm. Let us live life. Kumpo Haney. Yeah, man. Happy Sunday to you too, bro. But yeah, man, we'll see where that lawsuit goes. I don't think it has any grounds, like I said, but we never know. We never know in this day of age. Maybe they try to destroy the only, like, all right, let's just think hypothetically here. If Devin were to, as he's suing Ryan Garcia, and let's say it goes to the Supreme Court, I don't know, but let's just say it goes to the Supreme Court, and then or any high level of courts, and there's actually like a good litigation, you know, they draw up a good clause and grounds, and they say, okay, not only did Ryan cheat me, and he was on juice, Let's say Devin goes, he also permanently injured my body. The judge is going to be like, well, this is boxing, right? This is what you signed up for. Yeah, I know this is what I signed up for. But this dude, ref or judge, sorry, Judge Brown, when I tell you that it felt like every single punch was like me getting hit with bricks. I've known Ryan since he was a kid. He never hit that hard, right? And ever since I fought him as a pro, I kid you not, Judge, every single left hook, jab, it felt like it was, a Toyota Tacoma truck just slamming through my head. Boom. And I was being concussed. And, I'm not known to be chinny like that. There's only been one big puncher named Jorge Linares who caught me with a flurry of punches, and he got me with a right hand on the button. Well, Ryan, it was the same thing with Ryan, but even more so. And every single punch, it was the Austrian judge, right? So let's say he's making this case, and the judge is very sympathetic. Devin Haney puts on his crocodile tears and starts crying. He'd be like, yeah, judge, he caught me with a left hook. I couldn't recover. And imagine, me, the tough fighting warrior, is going through these next 7 rounds, just trying to regain some ground. He drops me again in the 7th. The ref, Harvey Dock, who we paid under the table, took away a point to make it much more competitive on the scorecards. I get dropped again officially on the 10th, but note that I got dropped like 3-4 more times, but they didn't count them. Let's say the judge is like, okay, Devin, you're very sympathetic. I like your case. Say this, say that. You were emotionally scarred. You suffered, as Vince says, emotional damage. Keep going. This is, you know what I'm saying? Let's say out of all this pussifying of the sport, Devin gets away with it, and actually Ryan has to pay, I don't know, $2 million worth of damages towards Devin Haney's, I don't know, fund, so he can start a league or a union for fighters, right? Like a healthcare union. So let's say all of this actually happens. Then we just change the whole fucking dynamic of the sport. Now, one of the only pure sports out there in terms of whatever happens in that ring, pureness, where it's physical, where there's great defense, where you can be a little dirty, like hit behind the head or have low blows. Because in all the other sports, they're taking away that bush league tactics and antics that you can't get away with. In football, they really dumbed down the sport of football. In basketball, you can't make no fucking contact. So in terms of contact, boxing, like UFC, but much more boxing, is one of the most corrupt and pure sports out there, right? So if Devin were to win that lawsuit against Ryan Garcia on his shitty grounds, the whole sport of boxing could be dumbed down and watered down. Now they're going to have to wear big old pillow-fisted gloves, much bigger than 10 or 8 ounces. Now they have to wear 12 or 16. And now all of these dudes have to, I don't know, get inspected every single time by a corner. You get what I'm saying? Like, so Devin Haney won't win that case. I could be wrong, but there's just no way that he should or be capable of winning. Like, the judge should just throw it out the minute it sits on his table. But we'll see. Anyway, let's not talk about that. That shit's nonsense. Yo, Speed, let me ask you a question. Did you get to watch Rafael Espinoza over the weekend on Saturday? Well, yesterday. And if so, do you think that Ruben Villa could beat him? I don't know. Maybe you're already in the back. No, not yet. I don't even know if you're here still, Speed, but what did you think of Espinoza? And do you think our local kid from Salinas can beat him? He's like, nah, dude, I'm not here. He says, I'm hopping on now. All right. Yeah, I sent you and Drew the link. But Drew is like on a little vacation up north, so I don't think he'll be joining us, man. He was hopping on now. No, you're still not on, buddy. Well, yeah, man. Where you at? Oh, there he is. There he is. Who do you have as your profile pic, bro?
Good morrow to every single one of you. Mr. Vince Vargas, Adi Medi, the homie Ricky, thank you very much for inviting me today on this fine, sunny summer day, the day of our Lord. Well, your as per your question, whoa, homie Ricky, I don't know if Ruben Villa can beat Rafael Divino Espinoza. Just an account of how he's not preparing himself. Right. If you just looked at his box rec, you may notice that he has an upcoming fight next month, and he's going to be fighting an African fighter, if I'm not mistaken, a Ugandan fighter, whose last fight was a loss. And if I'm not mistaken, it may have even been a stoppage. Homie Ricky, look, you can definitely climb up the ranks taking on these kind of fighters, right? Padding your record and all of those things. But it's the same thing that I've said about Ruben Villa the fourth, Drac, right? He is too skillful, too experienced to be taking on this lower caliber of fighter. And I don't want it to be I don't want it to be misconstrued here. I'm not trying to say that the only people that become champions are the ones that test themselves hard with every single fight. No, because if that was the case, Rafael El Divino Espinosa shouldn't even be a champion in the first place, right? Because if you analyze, if you go through El Divino's record, you will see that his record is padded a lot of topsy turvy fighters. He has a lot of fighters with upside down records, at least half of them, and somehow he was able to become, in my opinion, the biggest underdog story, even greater than Andy Ruiz Jr. in the past 10 years, maybe even further than that. Why? Because just like I say, give me a chance. That's all these fighters ask. Give me a chance. When you fight and you continue to get experience, what you want to do is that you want to set yourself up for the opportunity to not only get the chance, but also to prepare you for that chance adequately so that you will win. You don't just want to climb up the ranks. You want to take on the type of fighters that will behoove you for once you get that chance.
Hmm.
And in the case of Divino Espinosa, he started to do that later on in the past few fights, right? He started taking on harder fighters, better records under their names, and so forth and so on. I don't think you can prepare yourself for a two-time gold Olympian standout like Robeisy Ramirez, though. So what El Divino Espinosa did really was miraculous. I don't want to discount that. But in Espinosa, we have a fighter that came from nowhere. That in the amateur ranks, I think he may have only had 13 amateur fights, right? So something in his trainers, whatever they saw in him, they trusted enough that he should become a pro soon enough without even having that kind of experience. And likely that has a lot to do with his physical attributes, right? They knew that he was dedicated. They knew that he practices a proper nutritional sacrifices, that he exercises and works out hard, and they also knew that his physical attributes were going to make it very complicated for his foes. It doesn't take a genius to say, yeah, right here we have a winner. But whatever it is, he lacks a lot of amateur experience. Now, what he done with Robbie Ramirez, because of all of those elements, all of those factors, it is miraculous. But in the case of Drac, Villa, or Villa, sorry, uh, Ruben, if you're hearing me, this guy has already went on a run for the Olympics. I don't think he made it. I think he got eliminated by Shakur Stevens or something like that. But nonetheless, he was an American standout, and he was going to represent America in the Olympics. We know that he has experience against men like Shakur Stevens and these other standout fighters. I'm sure that you have a better memory than me. I'm sure that you could run all the names. He has a lot of experience with them. So for us to see him fight a fighter like the one he is fighting now, that has a record of about 16 total fights, 2 losses, and the last one was a loss, I can just say this: something about his management says we don't want Ruben Villa to get the shot now. And you have to ask yourself, what is it that they don't think Ruben has to take on those fights that will make him a champion, that will make him a better paid fighter now, right? And we know that there has been some sacrifice and on Ruben's side, right? Before he used to be somebody that emulated the style of Lomachenko, finding a lot of angles, double stepping, footwork, and all of these other things that in the last recent fights he has not been doing. Why? Because the Lomachenko style, high output, many combination style, does not lend itself out to the proper power transfer enough so that you can knock out these fighters. So he's letting these fighters linger on through the fights, and that's always a dangerous thing because as long as the guy is in front of you, he has a puncher's chance. So now he's been trying to take on this more aggressive, more powerful style. It still hasn't produced the results, and maybe that's what they're concerned about. Maybe they don't think he can take on a rematch like El Venado Lopez. I don't think he will. I don't think he's ready. He beat that guy, but I think he will lose now. El Divino Espinoza is a 6 foot tall fighter that we just saw over the weekend. That not only can he fight in close quarters, which is very counterproductive for a fighter of his ilk, because they should use their physical attributes to fight from a distance, to fight from mid range. But guess what? In fact, he is very powerful and very capable, and he finds his punches in close range. Can Ruben Villa take on a fighter with that kind of range, that is using that range adequately, powerfully, has great punch selection, great punch placement, and power? Homie Ricky, yes, he can. But fighting the guy he's fighting right now in about a month's time is not going to behoove him. Ruben Villa has the goods, but I doubt he beats El Divino.
Yeah, man. Yeah. To your point, I was looking at Rafael Espinoza's box rec, and he has a lot of people with like you would assume that with the experience of fighters that he's fighting, it's not going to prepare you for those type of fights. But dude, he's that dude is great, bro. So it almost kind of like you start to question and ask yourself, like, do you really need a lot of like tough fighters on your resume to know that you're the goods, or do you just beat a lot of these dudes and then wait for them to call you up, and then surprise people? So like maybe Ruben Villa is learning from all those dudes. He's like, in me, instead of me fighting or trying to fight all these undefeated fighters, let me just continue to win in this winning column, and then eventually my title shot will get here. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what like Espinoza did. Like he doesn't have anybody with like an amazing record. Like I think his last fight before the Robeisy Ramirez was a victory or the dude that was 12-6. But accordingly, he was like a 13-1 underdog against Robeisy Ramirez. So I don't know, man. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Sometimes boxing, of course, they get it wrong. There's always that guy that surprises you. Maybe Espinoza's that guy, that dark horse. I mean, I don't think people are gonna rush up in line to be like, yeah, let me fight this dude that's 6'1", I don't think so. So I don't know. I'm gonna be crossing my fingers because I think Ruben has a skill. But to your point, yeah, man. I mean, fighting like Lomachenko looks very nice on camera, looks very creative. But the fact that you can't sit on your punches because you're always fleet of foot and you're always bouncing and moving on your toes and hop in and try to use these angles and look very artistic and paint on the canvas. Sometimes it's best to paint with blood. and not so
Hmm.
much with leaving your footprints on a wet canvas type of thing. But I don't know, man. We'll see. Maybe like again, this is a transition where Ruben was still trying to find out what kind of fighter he wants to be, and now as he's starting to get into his man strength, maybe he starts to sit on more on his punches and be much more of like a quote unquote traditional Mexican.
Yeah.
Maybe Ruben Villa has a couple of fights in him where he looks like Robert Guerrero. Because remember, Robert Guerrero from Giroy, he used to fight with Angles when he was at 126 and 122 pounds. He used to
Hmm.
fight very athletic and off the jab. And then when he moved up to welterweight and started fighting guys like Andre Berto, bro, he just became like this come forward, hawk you down style, and it fucking worked for him
Yeah.
to the point where he got a Mayweather fight and company. So yeah,
Hmm.
man. I'm not saying that Ruben would do that, but it's always a possibility. Like, why couldn't he?
And the thing is, look, two things I want to mention. Now that you bring them up, one, the Lomachenko fight style, where you have incredible footwork, you throw a lot of punches, you're a come forward aggressor. That's my favorite style, right? So Ruben has that. So you know I'm cheering on for Ruben. This has nothing to do with the fact that he's from my home city, nothing like
That
that.
has
It,
everything to do with it.
not with me, because I don't like to get too personally involved or too concerned about the fights of other men, right? Whether they're my hometown fighter, because it's like I may like the guy, but if you ask me, Divino versus Ruben, where you put your money at, I'm gonna have to say Divino, right? So that's just really where you know whether you're honest or not. Are you a fan of man, or are you a fan of the sport? And and here's the thing about that,
Niggas
right?
sound so gay, dog.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? I'm
Let
a
'em
big
know.
fan. The biggest fan of the underdog. I love upsets. I love surprises. I love when a person gets a chance and they take that and shocks the world. It's one of the most incredible things that can happen in the sport, right? But I have come to the realization in the case of Rafael Divino Espinoza that an underdog like him, where they had the record to get the chance, right, is not something that I really appreciate, right? Because it's almost like you take the easy route and then you win one fight, and then you take the whole acclaim of the world. You get the hurrahs and you get the cheers and everything. And I respect the hard work of these professional athletes more so than just the underdog story. You see, like for example, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to sound ludicrous. This is going to sound ridiculous. But if Terrence Crawford had an open sparring uh, or open training, whatever, and he invited the crowd and he picked out some guy and he goes, "You come here," and I point to my chest like, "What? Do you talking to me?" And he goes, "Yeah, come up here. Put on those gloves." And I put on those gloves. Let's spar for funds. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, the sport of the puncher's chance in the world that is heads and tails would indicate that yes, I can beat Terence Crawford. That's just the reality. In life, there are two opportunities. Even if you look at the odds and they're 1 of 1,000 or a 1 of 1,000,000, it really becomes 1 out of 2. Yes or no, win or lose. And I could go over there and I could just throw a lucky punch, and all of a sudden, Terence Crawford is twitching on the floor. It
Yeah,
sounds ridiculous,
right.
right? It sounds ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous. But that is the reality of life. In the sport of a puncher's chance, anything can happen, right? That's why you have to appreciate the hard work it gets to of a fighter to get to a place. In the case of El Divino Espinosa, he didn't necessarily put on the hard work. He started to. That's why he got the chance. That's why he became a champion, and that's why this weekend he defended so magnificently. Right? So there has to be a happy medium. I always talk about the happy medium because selecting Spanish.
I
There
mean,
has
not
to be a
really
happy.
though. Like,
There
look,
has to.
look. When you
Why
saw
not? Why
Robbie
not?
Ramirez, he had fought Ali Werengani. 12 wins, 6 losses. Then prior to that, the only guy that has a respectable, well, maybe two guys. This guy, Rafael Rosa Ramirez, 19 wins, 2 KOs, two losses, and 2 draws. Orlando Garcia, 17 wins, 33 losses. Then Gerardo Valenzuela Munoz, 11 wins and 1 loss. That's his best resume on that record, 11-1. Carlos Ornelas, 25-3. Maybe these guys are good. I've never heard of them. They're taking place probably like Devi Azteca and Unimas or whatever the case may be. But yeah, man, he really got lucky. I'm not saying lucky because you can't really be lucky in the terms of skill and the height and the speed and prowess that he showed and the heart determination that he showed against Robeisy Ramirez. To your point, and to counter like with your argument, you were saying like there's nothing of his resume that was going to prepare him for a two-time gold medalist champion in Robeisy Ramirez, especially fighting those names. Like, you can't equate those names that he fought with a Robeisy Ramirez. So Espinoza is definitely the goods. It's just maybe it could be like, I've always been good. It's just I never got the opportunity because I'm 6'1", 6'2". I don't have, the backing of the fan base or the backing of a, billion-dollar promoter to really give me this big significant fights. But look what I did once I met and ran into those moments that you guys asked me to do, and I passed them with flying colors and gave you fights of the year and upsetting your Olympians and upsetting your champions and upsetting the prize, connected, politically connected fighters. So maybe sometimes a lot of these fighters, like a lot of the time, they just need an opportunity and see how they can run with it. So yeah, that's one of the things that I was interested in seeing Espinoza over the weekend, if he can be consistent. Because now that no one knows you, when you fought Robeisy Ramirez, you can be a wild card. You can either get knocked down 4 rounds or you can win and be amazing for 12. Well, when he's a champion and he has to defend it, he knocked out that dude instantly, right? El Chirino, easily, bro. So I'm thinking now this dude is the real goods. Now let's look for unifications. I don't know if Adi Meni is messing around or if this conversation did take place, but there's only one person that can beat Rafael Espinoza right now. Shushu Carrington. Oh, stop it. Tim Bradley goes, and that's Rafael himself. Is the only. I was like, that
Yeah.
sounds like dialogue that Timothy Bradley would actually say. Um,
No, I think he may have said something like that. If not, that sounds like a direct quote.
It really does. Like, I can see that shit. But yeah, Vince Vargas goes. Did you actually see the Floyd Cashflow Diaz fight?
Yeah, I saw all of them, homie. I saw all of them. Um,
What do you think?
um,
He's saying that he's got the skills, just doesn't hit. He just can't hit like our boy Ruben. I agree. That's kind of with cash flow Diaz is like a lot of man. It's very interesting because you would think, right, if you have proper technique, if you got the skills, if you got the footwork, if you have the good punch technique, the perfect punch placement, that you would naturally hit hard. Like, why isn't that these fighters that have that great technique can't hit hard? Why is it the sloppy fools that like, you know what I mean? You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't understand it. It's just like you would think that if I have my legs under me, I'm pivoting correctly, I'm rotating, through with my waist and my hips, and I rotate my fist and dig my shoulder in there, I should be able to pop a dude. But nah, man, it's very strange how the guys that are usually the best technically sound don't really hit the hardest,
So is Cash Flow Diaz the guy who was chasing the other guy? The other guy was a mobile fighter. He was like, for the most part, a backwards stepping fighter. Was that? Yeah, yeah. I think that's him. Let me see. Yeah. So look, homie Rick. Let me just confirm if that's him though, because Cash Flow Diaz. Um, oh, man, I'm trying to look at who he fought. Let me see. Francisco Pedrosa Portillo. Yeah, that's the guy with the mustache. He had like a big old mustache, right? He has a record of 18-12. Cash Flow Diaz, Floyd, he had an issue taking him out of there, right? And it's simple, right? His opponent was a backward stepper.
Backward stepper.
Yeah, they just circle around. They circle around. They jump left. They jump right. You go in right. They jump left. So for this on, it's hard to catch those guys, right?
Wow.
And then since you're always chasing after them, all they have to do is just simply stop, boom, throw one, two, and then just run out, right? It's those kind of fighters. No one in the history of boxing has an easy time with those guys, right? Yeah, you have to start, double jabbing. You have to, cut off the ring better. You have to go to the body. You may have to do some things like feinting to get those guys. But initially, Cash Flow Diaz was having an issue with that guy because that guy had so much legs that he was able to move for the initial half of the fight. Afterwards, all that movement and the few investment of Floyd Diaz to the body and whatnot eventually started to break down the fighter. And guess what happened, homie? The other fighter had to stand his ground, and he started having moments where he was coming forward and tagging Cash Flow, right? And that was the most telling part about it, right? I don't know much about Cash Flow, but I was watching him, and I knew that there was some hype about this kid. I think he's from Las Vegas, right? So,
Probably.
where's he from?
Yeah, yeah, probably from Las Vegas. That sounds about right.
Okay, yeah. So he's got good work in there. He's sparring some great names over there in the desert. Um, I won't be too critical about the young fella, right? Because we see how those backwards movers are, even against what should be undisputed champions like Teofimo Lopez, right? They like Sandor Martin gave Teofimo Lopez a very hard time, always just being on the back foot and circling left and right. The same how he did with Mikey Garcia. Those guys always put up the type of fight. But so I won't be too critical, but I will say this: he obviously needs to learn to feint more. He obviously needs to cut off the ring better, and the other guy came to fight at the end, right?
Yeah.
Surprisingly so. I won't be too critical again, but I was not too impressed. In fact, I was very impressed about my favorite up and comer, Steven Navarro. But guess what? Everybody's being very critical about him because he couldn't take out his Chilean opponent, right? Now, he looked spectacular. He did everything he wanted, homie Ricky. He, leveled, he posted, he framed, he hit to the body, he hit to the face, he hit to the side, he opened the man up with jabs, he threw massive combinations, he moved, bobbed and weaved. He did everything well except knock out his opponent.
Damn.
But that's the thing though. Like these kind of fighters are cumulative type of fighters. There was a moment that he went to the body. He hit his Chilean foe to the liver. The Chilean just kept walking back, and this guy went in there to finish him off. And this is where you know that he is still in development. The first thing you do, homie Ricky, when you hit your opponent to the liver and they respond and they walk back, what's the next punch you should throw?
Wait, you hit him to the liver. You hurt
What's
him.
yeah? They start walking back, they start shutting up, you start going for the kill. What's the next punch you should throw?
I don't know. There's many, but I'm gonna throw another body shot as well,
Exactly, especially to the liver region.
or some
You're gonna
uppercuts.
or an uppercut, yeah, or an uppercut, but you go to the liver, right? Because any punch around that region is just gonna shock the nervous system. That's it. And he, of course, went to the body. I mean, he, of course, went to the head. God bless Steven Navarro, and in fact, God bless this Chilean fighter. You know what? I'm gonna get his name because I don't want to just call him a Chilean fighter. I want to get his name. Here we go. What's his name? He outshines. His name is Juan Pablo Mesa. Man, what a great fighter. That guy came here to fight. Yes, he was outclassed. He had more experience than Navarro, but he took everything that young, outstanding fighter gave. He never once got dropped, and he lasted all 6 rounds, or yeah, 6 rounds. Man, I don't know much about Chilean fighters, but this is what the sanctioning bodies need to do. They need to do what the WBA is doing when they pit England versus Mexico, when they go to Panama, when they go to Venezuela, and they have these events to showcase their up and comers and their regional champions. They need to bring more fighters from more parts of the world into the fold, because we will get fighters like Mesa who may lose, but guess what? They look like the bravest, most grittiest, toughest men out there. Man, God bless these guys.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I'm a big fan of Steven Navarro. For those that don't know, he's basically 17, 18-year-old. He was supposed to represent Team USA in the Olympics, but they gave it to a buddy of mine, Justin. Wait, is that his name? From Fresno, Jermaine?
Hmm.
They gave it to him on the decision. You can watch a lot of those fights on this place called like Production 8 Boxing or something like that. Try to get the links. But yeah, man, Steven Navarro is really good. He can hit. He's strong. He's fast. Fights a lot like Lomachenko. Has sparred guys like Roman Chocolatito Naoya anyway, and he's giving him a lot of work. But yeah, man, he's really good. But yeah, man, we'll see how far he can go. Obviously, the expectations. I don't know. To your point, is like some people get criticized for not having pop or power, and then others can kind of get away with it in their career and just be like, no, that's just how he is. I don't know what makes some fighters get more criticized than others, and how some other ones can be like can skate through this world and be like, oh, that's not the expectation. He's a slick boxer, so this is what we should expect from him. You know what I mean? Like there's some
Hmm.
fighters that you put a lot of pressure, and then you're extremely harsh and critical of them. And then there's others that like, oh no, we accept the fact that he's got 25 wins, and out of those 25 wins, two of them are knockdowns, and that's it. But there's no gusto, there's no emphasis for these guys to really go for the incentive and go for the knockouts and be fan friendly as long as they just get the W. So I don't know where a lot of these fighters like who's the one that puts that pressure on them, because I feel like that would be the expectation on every fighter. Everybody loves knockouts. Knockouts sell. Big knockout artists sell. Everybody should try to gravitate in towards to be like a Tank Davis. We don't want stinkers of the world. But everything's all about getting the W, I suppose. But I don't know.
And here's the thing, though. And Navarro, he stood his ground, right?
Yeah,
Like most of these young fighters, right? What matters to them is to just get the dub. Like that's really what matters to them. Whether they make it boring, whether they make it, boring, an eventful, an exciting event, like somebody like Jermaine Ortiz, right, or Shakur Stevens, or even Edwin de los Santos, right? It doesn't matter to them, because what matters to them is to just get the dub. Steven Navarro went out there to destroy his opponent. You can tell because he was always in his face. He was walking him down, or standing his ground. I don't think Steven Navarro ever took a step back. And if he took a step back, it's because Mesa forced him to. Why? Because Mesa, he had to play the counter puncher. When the guy's throwing all these combos, he had to like load up with everything and throw something real hard to see if he could just get the guy. And there was a couple of times that he did hit Navarro, but not too damagingly or convincingly destructive. Um, because Navarro also had proper head movement. Like he has, and he probably had the perfect opponent for that, right? Somebody that loads up with everything. It's easy to tell, and it's easy to duck. Therefore, to duck that kind of attack, right? But nonetheless, Navarro is a very exciting fighter. He reminds me so much of my favorite fighter, Vasil Lomachenko. right? And going back to something that we were addressing, going back to Ruben Villa the fourth, he once reminded me of a Hispanic, uh, Mexican American or Chicano. I don't know how he identifies himself. Lomachenko, right? Now Navarro has taken up that spot. But this is the reason why, and again, if Ruben or his camp, I know some of them, if they're listening, please do not misconstrue my words. The reason why we address so much about Ruben and his career is because I personally do believe he can become a champion if you guys trust yourself, if you guys set him up right. But if you're just trying to make $50,000 a fight and that you guys are just content with that, I'm okay. I get it. I get it. But he will be relegated to the outskirts of competition because we are seeing men like Rafael Divino Espinoza, Robesi Ramirez, fighters like Venado Lopez, Nick Ball, Ray Vargas, Brandon Figueroa. We see all these guys taking on these kind of fighters. We see Stephen Fulton, Cool Boy, talking about going up to 126. We see men like Raymond Ford just vacate to go up. We see all of these guys right
Raymond Ford
here.
didn't vacate to go up. He defended against Nick Ball. Come on, give my boy
I,
some
I
respect.
okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, still, this is the reason why he's gonna be relegated and denied his credit. There's other men that are taking the risks, and we know that Ruben is arguably better, technically at least. And in fact, he's fought in two former champions. I mean, he fought a now former three-time division champion and El Vaquero Emmanuel Navarrete. He also beat Luis Lopez El Venado. So this is the reason why we talk about Ruben Villa so much, because it's time.
Honestly, I know that you said that like you put a little disclaimer out there that we only talk about Ruben Villa for X amount of reasons. No, dude, honestly, the only reason why we talk about him is because he's our own like city resident. Like for example, if he wasn't like from here, a lot of people wouldn't, or us, we wouldn't necessarily be talking about him. If we're being honest, because how many times did we talk about Mauricio Herrera or Miguel Vasquez? We
Yeah,
didn't talk about those guys. You know what I'm saying? Guys that are really good defensively, crafty, pesky, basically have a jab, don't really get hit a lot. We didn't really talk about a lot of them. You know what I mean? Only like the misfortunate situations where maybe they get robbed, or in Mauricio Herrera's case, he should be upset fighter of the year when he beat Danny Garcia in Puerto Rico and he beat Jose Benavides Jr. Like that's the only time that we put on our hero's cape and really talked about Herrera. But we didn't really like. So same thing with Ruben. It's like because he's not a knockout artist, because he hasn't really fought anybody worthy of note. That's the only reason why we talk about him. And I just feel like that's a
that
fair
is true.
assessment. I think that's a fair assessment because like we like the kid. He's a great fighter, he's a humble dude. But again, you have to be able to entertain and you have to be able to knock out people. And for the last couple of fights, to be fair, he has been entertaining. But
Yeah,
in terms of like for example, him and Tank Davis, right? I know we criticize Tank heavily for not fighting a lot of true champions and really being a true champion or being undisputed. But him and Ruben, they pretty much started at the same weight class. But Tank was willing to go to 140 and knock out guys like Mario Barrios. Like he actually tried to play the pound for pound game, even though he didn't go after the real champion. Like he still went up there multiple times in weight classes. See, Ruben Villa isn't doing neither of those things. He's not fighting credible names that we know, right? Besides Emmanuel Navarrete, and he came up short. He hasn't gone up to 131. Like I would think Ruben Villa would give Oscar Valdez a really good fight. I think he could probably beat Oscar Valdez. But fighting the guy from Uganda with 16 wins and 14 losses, no one's gonna be looking out for you and be like, "Oh my God, are you guys ready for Ruben versus the Ugandan?" No, but if I told you if Ruben V is moving up to 130 to go fight Oscar Valdez, everybody would be talking about that. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people would be like, "Oh, wait, like let's go, hell yeah!" You know?
I don't think his record is that bad. The homie. I don't
Well, but
think.
that's what I'm saying. Like he has to
uh,
like my boy, the boy Ruben, he has to fight like Oscar Valdez. Cause dude, you can be Oscar Valdez and you can be a champion, you know, and maybe if Navarrete goes back to 130, you can get that rematch for unification. But why are you staying and why are you so hell bent on just being at 130? You know what I'm saying? If like you got to take some risk.
hey, homie Ricky, am I a wrench in your channel?
Yeah, I think so. Why you
Oh,
wanna?
and, no, I was just gonna say I want to address a couple of these comments if you don't mind. It's your show though. It's your show. But
Yeah, yeah.
we
We always
have been.
talk about the comments, man. Go for it, dude.
Okay. Well, first
Green.
off, I just want to wish a good morrow to whoa, even the Mexican G is here. The Mexican G and of course Truly Trade, they hopped on I guess at the same time. These were a couple of comments before, so I do want to wish you all a good morrow. I hope you are enjoying yourself on this here beautiful Sunday morning in the summer, the day of our Lord. The Mexican G says the Haneys are some clowns. It is starting to look that way, the Mexican. It is starting to look that way. Truly Trey says Las Vegas for sure. Truly Trey, I hope you are still here. I hope you too, the Mexican G, are still here. If you want to comment, um, please feel free to comment. We will start addressing your things now. It's just that we were, I guess, very well engaged in these conversations. Truly Trade does ask if we already addressed the Haney topics. I know that you did, homie Ricky. I was listening to it, and of course, you tell him that you'd like to go back to it if he wants it. Um, but a couple of these other ones, of course, besides Eddie Medi being his absolutely hilarious self, right? The funny thing about Eddie Medi is that it sounds like he's just being funny, but he's actually being honest and critical, and most importantly, factual, right? It sounds like he's just being funny when he tells the truth. So he caught me in one of those things where I was having like this conversation with some guy that he called Mesa, uh, a
Yes, sir.
a taxi driver with his hands tied behind his back. And I found it to be very disrespectful of both Navarro's output and his work, but also Mesa's resilience. I really dislike it when they call any fighter a tomato can, a bum, a taxi driver, an Uber driver, and whatnot. The first thing I think of when these people use terms like this is that they think this sport is easy, and that's when I know they've never once stepped in the ring. I have
Wow, is that what you're saying about Adi Medi that he never stepped in the ring?
no, not Arimeri. No, I thought that he was making fun of Mesa, but he was actually referencing a argument that I had with some guy that he called Mesa a taxi driver, and I of course stood up for our fighters, right? And I, of course, because I barely woke up.
About him.
Yeah, no. And he's like, man, he's like, I'm defending you, right? And I was like, oh man, that's when I know I haven't drank my coffee. But yeah, um, so Adi Medi asks, do y'all partners get annoyed when y'all go on live? Of course, addressing the fact that oh, like my lady, no, you said you didn't want to go to church. It. Oh man, I guess we're gonna go to church. Oh man, here I am in my PJs, and I woke up my wife saying, "Are you gonna go to church?" And she was like, and she didn't say nothing. And then I said, I'm just gonna go on this life. And all of a sudden, she's the one who's all fixed up, ready to go to church, and I'm over here in my PJs with my feet up on the couch. Anyways, yeah, I don't think, man. So, anyways, Adimeri says, do your partners get annoyed when we go on the live? I guess that answers that question, Adimeri. My wife just screamed at me if I'm going to church. Adimeri says he's polygamous, and my women, he said it in the plural, hate that I'm always watching y'all. Well, with all due respect, Adimeri, my wife, she is a very hard worker, and she works from early in the morning hours until late at night. at her job site. So when I go live, a lot of the times, even though I stay up until 11 o'clock at night, she's barely coming home from work. So I don't have any kind of issues with my wife, perhaps hating that I go live. Um, but like right now, she probably wants to spend some quality time with me, at least in church, you know. Lomachenko, yeah, I am the one who penned that. But you know what? I don't. I think anybody else would have beat me to it. Adimedi Lomachenko is my favorite fighter, and I saw a lot of that in Navarro, so it just made perfect sense. I love you guys, but I just can't get behind Ruben. LOL. Adimedi says he's mid. Homie Ricky, let's just let's just move on to another topic. But let me just ask you: is Ruben Villa mid?
Look, if we're gonna criticize Devin Haney and be harsh
Jeez.
on him,
Yeah,
then yeah, dude. Like our boy is mid, bro.
man,
You see what I'm saying?
man, I can't accept that. I
Like,
can't
like,
accept
like,
that.
like that. I know, it's hard, bro. But like, it kind of is, bro. Like he kind of is. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me ask you this: we think Ryan Garcia is mid because all he has is power and the left hook, right?
I don't even think he's just mid. I think he's the second worst fighter in all of boxing.
Oh, okay. So imagine if he can do that to Devin Haney. Like, do you think Ruben Villa could beat? You know?
Well, Rubenville is better than Ryan Garcia
What do you
from
mean?
as a
How can you
technical.
can't say that, bro? Like, you almost really can't say that because if that's the case, then Ruben should be able to beat guys.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a better boxer than. How's that? He's definitely a
Yeah,
better
he's a
boxer, but
better boxer, but can he beat him
yeah.
in a fight?
No, nah, no, nah. Ruben, look, Ryan Garcia. You know how he's been talking crap about Caleb Plant and all these other fighters going up to 147, 154 to fight all of these guys, talking about fighting Virgil Ortiz, who apparently he already beat twice uh, as an amateur. Do I believe Ryan Garcia could beat these guys, go up in weight, and be competitive? Yeah, that crazy power, that crazy speed will go up and transfer well into those weight divisions, right? If he lands it, he'll hurt you. I don't see so much in Ruben that can transcend weight divisions. Um, and that pains me to say it. That pains me to say it because I believe in his skill set. I believe in his potential. I believe, first off, though, that he has to become a champion at 126.
Hold
And
on,
then,
hold on. Let me just simplify it for you.
yeah,
There's a 35 or 36-year-old who just beat Emmanuel Navarrete. Okay?
yeah.
No disrespect to that dude, but that guy sucks.
Dennis Berenchik is
Dennis
a
Berinchik
horrible
sucks.
fighter.
Horrible fighter. And he
Yeah,
was able to win Navarrete, bro.
I don't know. Yeah, that's
Like, let's be honest with you. If Tank were to fight that dude, Dennis Berenchik,
he
and if
knocks him out
Ryan Garcia,
quick.
Lomachenko, George Kambosos, all of these dudes would knock out that 35-year-old. Our boy
Yeah,
couldn't do it in 126.
yeah, yeah,
So we've
yeah.
always been saying Navarrete isn't that good, but he's got arm length and he's got power, and he does everything that you're not supposed to do in boxing. He jumps, he does Tekken upper bar, he losing footwork. Like, talk about make him miss, make him pay, and our boy, dude, our boy is mid. Doesn't mean just because he's mid he can't become a champion. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have the skills, but
True.
dude, you need that pop, bro. But yeah, no, like again, if he wasn't from our hometown, we probably wouldn't be talking about him because again, are you and me going to make countless videos about Dennis Berenchik and he's actually been a champion and be a 3-time divisional champion in Navarrete? Are we going to make
Absolutely
videos
not.
about Dennis? All right, then. So that means that's a very fair assessment. But look, man, that's my boy, and I gotta ride. I gotta be with my boy Ruben Villa, bro. That's my guy. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
blasphemy, Adi Medi. He's pound for pound 10, dude. Let me read a couple of these comments. Let me go back up to a little bit.
yeah.
Truly Trey was interested in talking about the Devin Haney situation. So they just gotta do a little recap about it. So Devin Haney, right? The New York, the NY SAC or whatever. The State Athletic Commission from New York, they overturned the loss of Devin Haney's resume, made it into a no contest. So Ryan doesn't get disqualified or lose the fight. It just, it becomes like almost it didn't happen. Now, I believe they did this to Keyshawn Davis in one of his fights as well when he popped dirty for marijuana. So, turning fights into a no contest is actually a thing that has occurred in the sport of boxing. But they also decided to fine Ryan Garcia 1.1 million and maybe some and give it to Golden Boy, which is pretty strange. And then the other part is maybe Devin gets to get a possible percentage off of that fee, with also Ryan Garcia having to test for a whole year, banned from the whole year of boxing. And he has to, do drug testing. Now, to Ryan, he goes, I'm retired from the sport. So if
Yeah.
Ryan is retired from the sport, does he still have to drug test?
No, no,
And
no.
okay. So hold on. So that's what we know to be facts right now. That's what the verdict is from the New York State Athletic Commission. That's what they imposed on Ryan. These are the stipulations that if you want to come back and be a boxer, you have to engage in the 1 year ban. You have to also take 1 year of drug testing. It's a no contest X, Y, and Z, and you pay this fine. Devin Haney is taking it another step further, right? He's saying now he's suing Ryan Garcia. And I think you read his Twitter post. It was like, because of this fight, I've suffered a lot of emotional, physical, and mental damages
And
that
financial.
financial that's affecting, me to make the type of living that he wants to out of the sport of boxing. So he's basically suing Ryan Garcia. Do you think Devin Haney suing Ryan Garcia is a cowardly act? Do you think it's just? Do you think there's grounds for it? And more importantly,
Yeah.
is this proper? Do you see Miguel
Yeah.
Cotto suing Margarito? Do you see all of the fighters that have potential, asterisks or question marks in victories? Do you see Manny Pacquiao behaving like this when
Nope.
Marquez had Memo Heredia acne on his back, gained like 15 pounds of muscle, and was looked to be strong and knocked him down and slept him? Would you see Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, the legends of the past life, sue after getting their ass kicked?
No, but the reason for that, homie Ricky, is because they have shame, right? They have shame.
Who has shame, Devin Haney or the other
No,
guy?
Devin Haney is shameless. You see, the other guys have shame. See, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why the sport of boxing cannot change too much is because if you change the nature of boxing, which is violence, and God forbid it, I'm not trying to be sexist here, the manliness of it, right? Let me rephrase that. The Yeah, it is. The right term is manliness. The virility of it all is that this is a sport where everything that happens and surrounds the sport has to do with the man keeping his word. I have said that a weight bully is not somebody that's 6 inches taller than you or can rehydrate more than you. It's the person that sucks you down while he takes it easy, and he goes over there and blows up the weight. Right? That is the weight bully. And you know what, homie Vicky, I gotta go to church. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you guys. I have to go to church. I have to
What?
think. I have to thank the Lords above that I am content with my family, with my children, that I am very happy that I even have individuals like you guys, which I consider family and friends, to listen to us. I hope to come back, Eddie Medi, the Mexican
Man, go
G.
take a shower, bro.
Uh, Vince Vargas. I'm not. I have no. I just rolled out of bed. I'm gonna go out like that. God is not gonna judge me
Bro, go
how I
shower,
look if I'm
bro.
sweaty or not.
Go
No, I'm
shower,
not. I'm
bro.
just gonna go.
You
This
gotta
is
look
God
good when
talking
you
about.
go to church. You can't be smelling off Don't going like ball sack and shit. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Now do your thing.
All right. I love you guys. I
Happy
love you
birthday to
guys.
you, bro. Enjoy that church time.
All right.
Adi Medi goes, let me remind you, I've never been inside a ring. I've only been boxing fan for a year. But best believe I keep a blicky on me if I want to whack up and you hurt. Ryan Garcia would stop Plant loses against Mexicans. Yeah, man, the high pressure volume punches. Yeah, if you can withstand Plant's left hook and take it away from him, guys, unlike guys like Devin Haney, if you can't take away Plant's left hook, then you're not going to beat him. But if you could, you throw a lot of punches, they can't block, they start gassing out, they're pretty chinny, they'll hold on for dear life. I'm kidding. I'm an Uber driver. Devin, I'll sue you. Complain Haney. I don't know what Complain Haney. Like, I don't understand. I strongly stand by this statement. I truly believe Devin Haney would be a GOAT in tennis. I believe he could win at Wimbledon. Bro, stop it, man. Are you mansplaining Speed? Speed's wife gave him the look. Yeah, man. He's got he said that he missed church 3 weeks in a row, so he had to make it up for today, man. Let me see. Did you guys already discuss? Cash flow puts me to sleep. Are you talking about Steven Navarro, the taxi driver? Body, head, body. Juan Pablo, hands tied behind his back. Taxi driver Mensa. Suleiman was pretty nice too. Suleiman, the spider Ibrahimovic. Look, man. So yeah, man. We talked about it. I don't really want to repeat myself too much. I was hoping, Speed had a little more time so he can give you guys his perspective. But yeah, man. I don't really like Devin Haney suing Ryan Garcia. Look, bro, if you want, go fight him. Go fight him with UFC small gloves, a different sanctioning, a different governing body, whatever the case may be. But, to sue Ryan Garcia, bro, you guys got humiliated in here. Any street credibility that you guys had, any public school or private school institution, bro, you guys got fucking destroyed. And now you guys are taking it to the courtroom. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That's pretty fucking cowardly. On what grounds, bro? Again, did Miguel Cotto do that to Margarito? Did Shane Mosley sue Margarito? See, Shane Mosley been like, bro, we caught you with the plaster of Paris and we still fucked you up. But guess what? I'm going to take it one step further. Just because I'm a clean athlete, even though Shane Mosley popped dirty for steroids in 2003, designer drugs, he could have been like, I'm going to sue Margarito for trying to hurt me and all this stuff. That's imagine if he had beaten Margarito's ass and then tried to sue him. Devin Haney, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Look at yourself in the mirror and take accountability for getting beat by someone as mentally unstable as Ryan Garcia. He still is going through the same things, and he was still good enough. Good enough. That wasn't even Ryan Garcia at his best. You get what I'm saying? That wasn't even Ryan Garcia at his best, and he was still good enough to knock you down 6-7 times with a point deducted and Harvey Dock saving you for dear life. And the judges, bro, and you still couldn't beat Ryan Garcia at his worst. Imagine if Ryan Garcia was at his best and not turning his back and doing that stupid-ass shoulder roll defense. Devin Haney stands no chance to beat Ryan Garcia ever. Ever. The only way you beat Ryan Garcia is as if Adi Medi's, to his point, if he has his left hook tied behind his back and he's only able to throw across. That's the only way Devin Haney can beat Ryan Garcia. Because believe you me, Ryan Garcia can only get better, and we've already seen Devin Haney at his best. Devin Haney cannot get any better. Where Ryan Garcia could get levels beyond his skill set, actually be a two-handed fighter, throw more jabs, start digging to the body, be much more professional, be much faster and stronger, be much more dedicated. See, Devin Haney already played all his hands, all his tricks in the book, being A side, having the size advantage over everybody. Guess what? All of that is gone. Ryan Garcia has all the upside. Unfortunately, he has no momentum now because he has to be suspended for a year. But if Ryan is able to clean up his act, his defense, Stop turning your back and actually stay there and counter and catch and shoot and block and swivel, have head movement, slip punches. Oh my goodness. The stars, like, there is no limit for Ryan, you know? As for Devin, you're a limited fighter. Now, you can beat older dudes like Regis Prograis at 140, but that's probably about it. I wouldn't favor Devin Haney to beat a Jack Catterall, a Josh Taylor, a Subriel Matias, a Liam Paro. I don't know, bro. And if you retire and wait for Ryan Garcia, see, it's funny. At least David Benavidez and guys like that, they're building their mega fight. They're calling out fighters and then fighting in between. You're willing to take a 2-year break, waste some money, then come back for you to fight Ryan Garcia. Bro, not only are you a coward for taking this to the courtroom, like if getting him suspended 1 year, well, that's the New York State Athletic Commission, but turning that fight into a no contest when you were shooting for a disqualification, and you still want to wait for him. Now I just gotta say you're stupid. Not only did you get your ass beat, right? But you're stupid for trying to wait for Ryan when he's gonna beat you more 10 times harder than what he was when he wasn't mentally stable, when he hasn't had time to correct his defense, right? Like, wow, just talk about just Devin Haney losing every single thing that he's been building since he turned pro. And just to have a guy like Ryan Garcia just snatch it away from you. That's exactly what happened. The Mexican G goes, Church's Chicken is a truly holy place. Speed's going to Church's Chicken and ask for a chicken leg. Cashier will say, which side? And Speed would be like, I don't know. The left side, I guess. No, I mean which side? Mashed potatoes, coleslaw. Stupid, dude. Well, supposedly this dude went to Sequoia National Park, did some bike riding and all of these things. And he said he went to go taste Cane's chicken. I think that's what it's called. He said he didn't like it. I thought he was tripping. I love Cane's chicken. I think Cane's, it's called Cane something. I thought that was pretty good, man. Think I ordered the number 4. The sauce was delicious. The coleslaw was really good. And yeah, man. And it was like 115 degrees that day in Stockton or something. We went to go watch Ruben Villa sometime last year, like around May. And yeah, that thing hit the spot. Even the lemonade was delicious with a little bit of ice that they put. Did you catch the interview where Ryan said that he was going to retire, so he gave them the satisfaction of saying that they are banned? No, I didn't watch the Ryan interviews, man. To be honest with you, I don't really watch a lot of Ryan Garcia content. It's not that I don't like the dude. It's just 1 minute he feels this way, and then the next minute he's saying another thing, and it's just like, you got to be consistent. Raising Cane's is a gift from the heavens. That's what it's called, Raising Cane's. Yeah, man, that food was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was starving, and I kid you not, 110 degrees, making a 3-hour drive. Everybody was hungry in the car. We're waiting to attend the Ruben Villa fight in Stockton, where Johnny Beck and Jason Maloney were, the main and the co-main event. And, bro, it was delicious. Raising Cane's was fire. Now, when I met my girl 4 years ago in Santa Monica, she brought me Raising Cane's. So I had to make like a 6-8 hour drive from Salinas all the way to Santa Monica. And Raising Cane's, like when it was cold. See, this is me. And I might be a fool for this, but I judge food by when it's cold. If the food is good cold, I only can imagine if this was warm. Is going to be the best, the holiest of all holiest, right? But if the food tastes nasty when it's cold, I can't get behind it. Now you can be like, man, how stupid can you be, Rick? Let me give you guys an example, okay? Exhibit A, Little Caesars. That pizza for me is delicious cold, as good as it is warm. On that flip side, In-N-Out. I love In-N-Out. But if you wait 20 minutes, that burger gets soggy, it gets nasty. You can't even touch it 5 hours from now. But Little Caesars cold pizza? Shoot. Man, you must be a damn fool to just throw that out to the trash can. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, Raising Cane's, when I had it warm on that going to that fight when I was like 3-4 hours starved, super good, delicious. But when I went to visit my girl in Santa Monica and made this long ass drive and she brought me Raising Cane's cold, caca, bro. It was nasty. I was like, ugh. But then again, like, you can, for some certain things, you can leave food to be cold. Others you can't. I get it. The level of freshness. Then you guys might be able to apply. Nah, you're stupid, Rick. You're supposed to eat food when it's warm because good food goes bad. So yeah. I know. But like I said, it's just that's how I perceive food. Anyway, he says, did he catch the interview with Ryan Garcia? He's going to retire, so they won't give him the satisfaction saying that they are bad. That's a good show on Netflix. Is that how you judge ice cream too? Yeah, very good point. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Ice cream, of course, you want to drink it, eat it when it's cold or whatever. But I like it when it starts to melt and it's very like almost like whipped cream, like, and it's just super good, bro. Like super good. But of course, you want to eat it like extreme. Like I don't like it when it's extremely frozen. Cause I want to say that I got sensitive teeth or anything, but like, yeah, man, it'd be like affecting my gums. I'm like, god damn. Then you get the brain freezes and it just hurts your chest. I like eating pescado cold. Hell no. What are you talking about, bro? I only like eating salmon and tilapia, and not that often. Like it can't be cold. Let me see. But yeah, man, that's what it comes down to, the Devin Haney situation. Yeah, as for Ryan Garcia, yeah, I don't really watch a lot of Ryan Garcia interviews, man. I just feel like you have to gain some insight, right? And Ryan Garcia, I'm not like, he'll keep like a 3-4 hour interview very entertaining because Buddy will be like all over the place and it's very interesting. But at the same time, it's like you're not gonna learn so much from him, you know. And I don't know. I don't really watch Ryan Garcia interviews. I don't really like. I don't like when somebody don't take accountability for their actions. You know what I mean? If you stand on something, just stand on it. Who cares if you're wrong or if you're right or if you're 10 toes deep into the ocean and it's like, oh no, dude. Like it doesn't matter. Just stand on it. Ryan Garcia flip flops. I don't like flip floppers. Um, the Mexican G goes, ooh, ceviche is good cold, but that's about it. Yeah, I just had ceviche yesterday. Yeah, bro, some mariscos. Yeah, ceviche is delicious. I love ceviche. That's probably one of my favorite foods of all time. I love the freshness. I love the liquid of it from el clamato and all that stuff. Devin Haney's favorite food is left hooks because he was eating it all night. Talk about it, bro. Talk about it. Let me highlight that. Talk about it, bro. Let me tell you, man. We talked about this in the past, but let me just emphasize it. There was only one punch, guys, that can be detrimental to your health, Devin. That was Ryan Garcia's left hook. Not a jab, not a step back right cross, not a looping four over the top, not a right uppercut, a 6 or a 5, or a jab to the solar plexus. None of that, bro. It's just a left hook. It's a left hook. Glue your right hand to your face. Use your forearm, use your bicep, and just have that glued to your right side of your face. Do not, by any metric, let Ryan throw that left hook. By no metric, let Ryan connect on a left hook. Take away the left hook. Talk about incompetence. Talk about a shitty game plan. Talk about utter stupidity. That's what Devin Haney should be ashamed about. Don't be ashamed about that Ryan had to cheat to beat you. You get what I'm saying? I actually feel like, damn, this motherfucker needed to cheat. He needed to be 4 pounds. Feel proud about that. That's the only reason why Ryan even stood a chance to fight you, right? But you should be ashamed about is not being able to take Ryan's left hook away from him. Bro, you got caught within the first 10 seconds of that fight. The first 1 minute, he already had you hurt. That's what Devin should be ashamed about. Don't be ashamed about that this dude tried to cheat you. No, and actually you should feel like, I'm so good that this dude paid $2 million just to get in the ring with me. And on top of getting in the ring with me, the buddy needed to take Austrian, flush more drugs out of his system with IVs and all of these things. You don't have to answer for Ryan Garcia's, inadequacies or insecurities, right? That should be like, no, you should be proud about that this dude needed to do all of this stuff just to be able to beat me. But he should be ashamed about getting connected so much by those left hooks. Damn, bro. I couldn't believe it. like that whole saying goes, it's easier said than done. That belief's true to Devin Haney. I look, I don't know. That's a ceviche is good, but it's cold. That's about it. Devin Haney's favorite food is left hooks because he was eating it all night. Haney can't even eat left hooks. He's allergic. That's how he beat Oscar Duarte too. Everybody knows about Ryan's left hook, and they still get caught with it. You're right. The jaw rolled up. He's allergic. Dang, dude, for sure. That's a great way to put it. Beautiful analogy. Yeah, man. Look, I couldn't understand it till dawn of day, man. You know, it's like Deontay Wilder, right? You still get caught with the right cross. Like he's gonna throw it. So you should have some understanding of how to be able to take it and roll or block that right cross. Now, the thing with the right cross, though, is that, Wilder will throw it from close, from far. He'll throw it straight and he'll loop it. The left hook is only a loop. The left hook does not throw from an undercut position. You see, it only comes from over the top. And that means all you got to do is glue your right hand to your fucking face. You know what I mean? And Devin couldn't do it all night. Okay, let's say Ryan he catches you one time, but Ryan caught him like 10 times. Dropped his ass like 4 out of the, like, dude, what? Laid his ass out like Plank from Ed, and Eddie. Psh, what you guys know about Ed, and Eddie, man? Dude, like, what is wrong? I don't know. That's what Devin should be ashamed about, man. That shit was tattooed to his fucking right cheek. But I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting to see what Ryan Garcia can do. Hey, look, just because you're banned from the sport of boxing doesn't mean that you can't have an exhibition fight or go to Dana White and fight for the UFC against Sean O'Malley, right? So there's so many ways that Ryan Garcia can make money and continue this momentum. In fact, that would probably be Ryan Garcia's best attribute right now. It's like, all right, if you can't make money from the sport of boxing, they're lost. Take it as their loss. Go over there at UFC, and have some rules where, like, we can only do stand-up. The minute you take me to the ground, the referee breaks it apart because I'm not a wrestler. He can say shit like that. And I'm sure guys like Sean O'Malley, Conor McGregor will indulge Ryan Garcia and fight him under under that pretext, right? But yeah, man, it's going to be very interesting, man. The way I look at Devin Haney is this, man. All right, you already won in the sense that they took that loss away from your record. The only thing that you're trying to protect so dearly on your resume is that undefeated record. So the fact that they took it and made it into a no contest, walk away and just don't come back until you have a fight ready. Just shut up, don't dance. Like you have no fans. There's no one going to support you. No one is supporting Devin Haney. There's like nobody siding with him. And the reason being is because I'm not saying that he's going about it the wrong way. It's like we talked about it in the past. It's like if you got cheated on, there is no right or wrong way for you to behave. You're just going to behave whatever you find it proper. And who am I to tell you otherwise? Like, nah, bro, you shouldn't behave that. Nah, bro, let that go away. Like, she not worth your time. No. However you want to feel is how you're supposed to feel. If you want to feel angry, if you want to feel vengeful, strike some revenge, you can feel any type of way that you want to feel. There's no way that I'm going to say that, oh, you shouldn't. But I'm just saying, you got to learn how to take what transpired in that ring. That's what you got to live with the rest of your life. They might change the record, just like you did a crime and you're trying to get, your information buried and never to be able to discover from like private investigators or a background check. We can do all that stuff. But what occurred, what occurred. You know the truth, right? And Devin has to live with that for the rest of your life. On paper, yeah, you have a no contest. But what happened and the truth of two men fighting in that squared circle, you got your ass beat. So again, on paper, nothing happened. You're still undefeated. But in real life, that's what Devin has to live with, and that's what he can't live with. He's ashamed of that. Ryan Haney Ryan B. Haney so bad he turned into an English bulldog. If Devin Haney's, it's Devin Haney's Pokemon evolution. Who's that Pokemon? What are you talking about? Haney's face was so swollen that it made him look like his walk around weight. Well, 185 pounds. Complaining, Okay, so that's what you mean. Got you. Ryan beats Haney so bad he turned into an English bulldog. If Devin Haney's what would be Devin Haney's Pokemon evolution? Who's that Pokemon? Devin Haney. Man, you're too goofy, bro. You're too goofy. Yeah, I don't know what fucking Pokemon evolution Devin would be, man. Um, that's I don't know. Like I said, I've never seen any fighter try to set grounds for being cheated. Like, I mean, yeah, bro, it's crazy. I mean, look at the list of fighters that have got caught cheating in the past and their opponents, whether they won or lost. How often do you see them sue that fighter that was on the drugs? You get what I'm saying? To be honest with you guys, check this out. I'm not totally against drug use, right? As long as I know that you're on drugs, then I make the cognizant decision with my team whether I'm going to allow you to fight with me on them or if I decide to be on them so we can more or less have an equal playing field. What I don't want to happen is saying that we're going to be clean athletes and then you beat me masquerading and walking around here as if you're a clean athlete, but knowing that you are dirty. That's what I don't like. You know, I don't like you having necessarily an upside on me and then you try to hide and be like, oh, I'm this clean fighter when you're not. That's the only problem that I have, you know. So if we're gonna be clean and have this clean boxing program, and if that's the standard, then we have to have clean athletes. But if you're not fighting under those rules, and then you'd be like, yo, I'm gonna be on some Austrian or I'm gonna be on some clenbuterol, I'm not tripping about it, you know, because I also still know that like you can be on drugs or whatever. I've seen people that are intoxicated, they can't fight worth a lick. Now I've seen other people that be on like, you know, PCP or whatever, and they're like like you can hit them with, I don't know, baseball bat, broken leg, fucking tibulas coming out of the foot, and they're still walking like a zombie. Like they ain't gonna go down. I have no idea. All I'm saying is this: we just gotta try to just keep it consistent. You know, if Ryan is a cheater, then let's say Devin Haney is allowed to cheat as well or be on drugs. It's fair ground. But just that other upside, you know, like again, going back to just a gentleman's sports and an agreement, we always try to keep things 50-50 or as fair as possible. When you start to break and deviate from those lines, when we agree to something, right? When we agreed to something, when we shook on it, when we wrote our name on pen and paper and on that contract, and we said we're going to fight at this weight class, you know, we're going to rehydrate X, Y, and Z, we have to come to that agreement. Once we break an agreement, you know, it's like committing a crime. It's like, nah, bro, like, you know, we agreed to said things, like, don't cry about it. Now, when we don't agree to said things, I feel like you should be able to cry about it. So, in a sense, like Devin has the right to complain. I just don't know about suing him. Like, how much more do you want to bury Ryan Garcia? You know, because the more you try to bury Ryan Garcia, it's not going to look good for you, and you're not going to necessarily win. I was supposed to try to fix this chair because I have some loose screws, but it is what it is. Who's that Pokemon? Angry Man. David Haney. Made that nigga look like Geodude. What you know about Geodude, bro? You don't know nothing about Geodude. Disney should make a live-action Bambi movie and ask Haney to play the role of Bambi. Put him on that stanky leg, huh? Man, dude, that's what he needs to work on. He needs to work on them squats, man. Got like fucking deer legs and shit. Haney on ice. That's a good one. But yeah, man, I think I just wanted to go on there, talk a little bit of some Espinoza, little Devin Haney. What do you guys think of Leon Paro? Leon Paro versus Subriel Matias. You know, we a lot of us assume that Subriel, I think we might have talked about it, but Leon Paro was a really good fighter. All I had to say was, I know that you can beat Subriel Matias for the first 6 rounds. I saw guys like Jeremiah Bonson, all these other Matias quite a lot. You know, he still starts to double up on his pressure while you start to get tired. Well, Leon Paro withstood and he persevered and he was not scared of, you know, the dark horse of the division, Subriel Matias. and he basically walked away in Puerto Rico as a champion, undefeated, and he's gonna take that belt to Australia to have his first home title defense. Bro, salute to Leon Paul for that. That was an amazing victory. I did see it happening. I just needed to see it occur in real time. See, it's different when you just have a conversation, and then there's different when you put your money to back your decision, and then there's money when you back your decision, and that decision actually happens just how you imagined it to be. Now, when you get all of those right, you're like, fuck yeah, dude. You know Liam Paul was the dude. You know, you just needed it. It's just, you just need to, it just needs to occur in real time. And it happened. So how you guys feel about that? Those long ass ring walks just to lose. Man, what is that? Just to lose. Shaking my head. Oh, yeah, I didn't see the ring walk because on that fight night, I was fluctuating from TV screens. On one screen, I'm watching Tank Davis and Frank Martin, and on the other one, I'm seeing Speed talk about Paro and Matias. So I'm like, what? I'm missing the action on both fights. It was ridiculous. The Mexican G goes, Matias is a tough fighter, but I never understood the hype. Well, the way I looked at it is with Matias is it can't be hype if you're a champion, right? Like a legitimate champion. And it can't be hype if you're a legitimate champion beating all of these undefeated fighters. So I loved what Matias was doing. But I always ask myself this. When you do beat those undefeated fighters, where are those undefeated fighters now? Right? So for example, he beat the dude Ergashev, but what happened to Ergashev? Has he been fighting? How many times? Imagine if, let me just take a little step back. A lot of us boxing fans, we know more about our boxers than boxers know boxers, or that boxers know about the sport of boxing. See, you and me, we might know a lot about the sanctioning bodies, the little bylaws, the stipulations, how, drugs work, how people consume them, the loopholes. You guys might know more about that than the actual boxers themselves, right? Who all they do is focus on eating, properly training, and sparring. They don't really have a lot of time to, and then they got to go like on vacation and find sparring partners and deal with injuries and therapy. They don't have time to pull up, go to WBC.org and start looking at the rules and the regulations and read the actual contracts. They don't. They just really focus about the big things. What weight I have to do, what gloves are we fighting in, X, Y, and Z, looking for sponsorship. They're basically they're fighting and living for the next day. Because you got to keep boxing very simple. Kind of like Dimitri Bivol said, I try not to watch other boxing. It's just my training. So these fighters just basically put on a blinders and they're just focused on essentially one man for the next 4 months, right? They're not necessarily worried about lawsuits. See, you and me, like say you're Keith Thurman, right? Adi Mehdi. Let's say you're Keith Thurman. You're only focused on your next fight versus Sebastian Fundora. You're not worried about, going to this fight and watching Ruben. You're not looking for Steven Navarro. You're not looking up for these new contenders. No, you're just focused, laser down the tunnel, just laser focused on your fight. You don't have time to get emotionally invested in everybody else's career when you're focusing on your own, right? So us boxing fans, we know way more than your average boxer. Now, with that being said, I always ask myself, after a fighter suffers when he suffers a defeat, for example, where is Jeremiah Ponce, the Argentinian that fought Matias? Where is he at now? Is he still in title contingency phase? Is he still fighting? When it was his last fight, how active is he? Well, obviously, Dadashev, he was placed in a coma and he died from Matias. But Ergashev and all these other fighters that Matias was fighting, where are they now? And the reality is you don't really hear about them. You don't really see them. You're not really checking out for them. So that's the way I look at Matias fighters. And then you ask yourself, who have they beat? And you only know how those guys, who they beat if they were quality opponents and what they do afterwards. Oh, no, they're still top 5 fighters. They're still being very active, and that's what it is. Absolutely. Look at Pro Gray. When Devin beat Pro Gray, where's Pro Gray at now? So how great is that win? Pro Gray is supposed to fight Jack Catterall relatively soon, but let's see how he looks. If Regis Pro Gray goes out there and beats Jack Catterall, who Jack Catterall just beat Josh Taylor, then we're going to be like, oh, man, Pro Gray was a great win for Devin. But if Pro Gray gets knocked out by Jack Catterall, how much credit are you going to give Devin Haney? Absolutely. So we can assume that Pro Gray was Never really that good, but he did give us a great fight versus Josh Taylor. That's one thing I can't strip away from Regis Prograis. His resume is a little bit suspect. His chin might be suspect, but if you go watch that undefeated World Boxing Super Series championship fight that he had against Josh Taylor, that was a fight of the year for me up there. That was amazing, man. That was a great fight. But yeah, that's kind of like the way I look at it. So yeah, to your point, the Mexican G, I'm not saying that Matias is hype, but what we know about boxing is that if you don't cherry pick, anybody can get beat. You see, one of the best cherry pickers in the sport of boxing, right? It's Canelo Alvarez and it's what's the other boy's name? Gervonta Tank Davis, right? Those are the two biggest cherry pickers in the sport of boxing, right? But sometimes cherry picking does go wrong. I'm not saying that, for instance, they were trying to cherry pick Dimitri Bivol. When Bivol was like 19-0, they thought he was a cherry, right? Because if you look at his couple last performances with Craig Richards and Lennon Castillo, you're like, damn, Dimitri Bivol can't crack, and Canelo will be able to beat this dude. That's what they were thinking, right? But long story short, they get it wrong. People had Bivol a 6, 7, 10-1 underdog. If you put money on Bivol by decision to win, you probably racked up plus $950 on that night, right? So they got it wrong. There's times that they get it wrong. Like, for example, Canelo, and we look down at his resume, I know we put Canelo on this pedestal, and he deserves to be on a pedestal because he had an amazing run at 168. But where is Caleb Plant? Where is Callum Smith to this day? Where is Billy Joe Saunders? Right? The only legitimate one there is probably Caleb Plant. Billy Joe Saunders retired, and he's been retired since 160 when he fought Archer Akarov. Billy Joe Saunders had always been drinking, has always been undedicated, failed drug tests. That's why you don't know where he's at right now, because he's never been about that life and he's never been that great of a fighter. Now, he's got good skill, but again, consistency. Callum Smith didn't beat John Ryder in the World Boxing Super Series. He got a lucky decision, right? And Caleb Plant, he's still a top contender. That's a legitimate win. He still went the decision with David Benavidez. He's still looking to get in the mix with Edgar Berlanga, Jermall Charles, and fighters like that. That's a real deal fighter right there. So you can give Canelo a lot of credit for that, right? Kovalev victory. Where is Kovalev now? You don't know nothing about him. Dimitri Bivol, that's a great fight for Canelo. Even though he lost, that's a great fight for him because look what Bivol's turned out to be, a beast, a top fighter, looking to become undisputed. So that's when you know, oh, those guys weren't cherries. But everything else pretty much was. So when you start looking at that context, it's like, how does a fighter suffer a defeat and what do they do to bounce back? If they bounce back, then they know that they have real dog and real fight spirit in them. Once they don't, boom. Adi Medi goes, bro, you're tripping. Ergashev just fought on Pro Box TV not too long ago. Yeah, correct. You and Speed were telling me that he just had a recent fight not too long ago. So that's what I'm saying. So Ergashev probably is a real legitimate fighter for what's his name, Matias's resume. But like guys like Jeremiah Spohn said, yeah, just because you look and have to have a beautiful record and 28 wins and 25 knockouts, like who were they against? When you start looking at his resume, it looks a lot similar to Rafael Espinoza. You're like, damn, bro, like, all right. Adi Medi goes, hold on. Okay, Prograis got way bullied, though. Yeah, possibly. By 4 pounds, though. I mean, it is what it is. I despise Josh Taylor. I enjoyed watching Teofimo mop the floor with him. Well, let me ask you this, Adi Medi. You said that he got way bullied. Devin made weight for Regis Prograis, but it was the rehydration in which he outweighed Regis Prograis by 4 pounds. You see? So just a little discrepancy here. Ryan Garcia didn't make weights. So he didn't want to sacrifice the other 3.4 pounds from Devin to make the Devin Haney fight at the limit at 140. You see? When Devin fought Regis, see, this is another thing that I also don't agree with. If you make weights, yeah, I think it was 4 pounds too. Devin rehydrated to 165, and I think Regis was 159 or 161, something like that. But Devin was like 4 pounds heavier, whatever standard it was. The way I look at it is this. If you walk around 185 pounds and you had a fat camp and you lost 40 pounds or 45 pounds to make 140, I don't care what you rehydrate, because I know the sacrifice that you had to do to lose 40 pounds and still compete and spar tough while you're weakening yourself. If you can do that, I don't really care what your rehydration clause is or how much you rehydrate, because I know what you had to succumb by to make that initial 140 pounds. You can weigh up to 185. Guess what? I know you fucking bloated. Guess it what? If I hit you with a lot of body shots, I know you're gonna spit out blood and spit out all that water, and you're gonna want to quit because you didn't rehydrate properly and you had a nasty, terrible weight cut. That's what they don't tell you about. You see, Regas weighed in 156.8, Devin 165. See, that's 10, damn near 10 pounds. You get what I'm saying? I don't really care what these dudes rehydrate. You know, I care about whether you make weight, because when you start to suck every ounce of water in you and your fucking cheekbones and your eyes are popping out and you look like a walking corpse, I know that's why Tank Davis is always laughing at these dudes. I know what you ate. Oh, I know you haven't ate breakfast. And he starts looking at their chins all fucking chiseled. He knows that they're fucking miserable right now. And he starts clowning on them because he knows why how it used to feel when he used to lose and cut to 130 and 126 pounds. He knows that. So again, when you make the weight, that's what's more important than what you rehydrate up to. You know, because you still have to feel miserable. You still have to drink a little bit of ounces of water. See, a lot of people don't understand how weight cutting and like hydration works. You see what I'm saying? And on top of that, Ryan still had to take an IV. So that's how difficult it is just to get back to feeling normal. So what Ryan did in not cutting those 3.4 pounds, even if he tried to cut half an ounce or 1 pound out of that 3.4 that he was still obligated to make, he would have felt extremely fucking miserable, which is why he paid the money that he paid. But what Devin did, he still made weight. And what he rehydrates up, it doesn't matter, bro. Like, hydrate up to 185. You're still not going to crack fucking hard because that's not how boxing works. You can mentally feel that you're bigger. Probably, let me put it to you like this. When Devin rehydrated back in the Ryan Garcia fight, Devin was still big. He was 165 pounds, probably even more. I don't even know. Why couldn't he beat Ryan Garcia when all Ryan Garcia had was one left hook? And Regas had, you know, I don't know, perceived a right cross and a left hook and actually been a legit champion. Because at the end of the day, the skills is what matters the most. And Devin finally met his match and he couldn't overcome, when most of the time he's been always able to overcome. It's like the story he told us where you cut too much weight on your first fight and you feel miserable. Yeah, man. I mean, I still won the fight, but in my head, I didn't feel good. I was nervous. And when I try to rehydrate, bro, like to this day, I don't even know how those fighters hydrate that much. It's fucking crazy, bro. But me, I miscalculated my weight because I believe I was supposed to fight at 126 or 130 pounds, somewhere in between. I made 126.4. You know, I didn't know how to like properly cut. You know, yeah, I was eating salmon, I was eating egg whites, I was drinking water, eating salads, you know, salmon and all of these things that, you know, it's high protein, low calorie type of thing, and sparring and cutting all these weight. But I couldn't, bro, when I try to drink water, Sweato, Pedialyte, when I try to hydrate back with Gatorade and eat a Subway sandwich, I could not take more than 1 or 2 sips. It was difficult. Super, like my body was rejecting it. I could not consume it. It was I felt like Devin. Hey, my cheeks were chiseled. I was thin as a plant. It was crazy, bro. So I don't know how those guys do it, but I know that I still had a little bit of the skills to be able to retain like a little bit of the victory. My power wasn't the same. I felt very fragile. I felt very cold. Yeah, man, the weight cutting is extremely dangerous. That's the most, like, what you rehydrate, I don't care. But the weight cut, that's because again, a lot of these times these guys don't walk around their weight class. It's not plus or 5 pounds that they're walking. These dudes are cutting significantly amount, and it's super dangerous, and it's the most difficult. When you start seeing these fighters be all moody and irritated and stuff like that, that's where that weight cut comes from, because you're starved, you feel sleepy, and yeah, man, it's the worst possible feeling ever. But yeah, one is after the rehydration, one is before even making the official weight. But yeah, look, guys, I don't want to keep repeating similar topics. This Saturday, man, I'm gonna end it on this note. I believe Bam Bam Rodriguez, Robert Garcia fighter from the RGBA camp, he is fighting El Gallo Estrada. I'm really excited about this fight. I wish Gallo had a tune-up, because if I'm not mistaken, he hasn't fought over like a year and 6 months. But he's fighting Bam Bam Rodriguez on the zone. The whole card is actually pretty good, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm really excited to see Bam Bam come back, to see what. All right. I'm extremely excited about Bam Bam's career, and I think Robert Garcia in the past has stated that this is his Manny Pacquiao, that he can become a 6, 7, or 8-time division champ. So there's a lot of high stakes with Bam Bam Rodriguez here. And one of the things that I love, even though it's in with the new, out with the old, correct. The Mexican he just fought Sonny Edwards. Amazing fight between two undefeated fighters. And one of the things that I like about Bam Bam Rodriguez is that he's fighting the stars of last year. So Rugvinsai, Carlos Cuadras. He's now fighting Gallo Estrada. And I hope he fights Roman Chocolatito. In fact, that's who he actually was sparring with in preparation for Gallo. So I hope he fights all of these dudes. And then he starts to move up and starts to chase Junto Nakatani and Naoya Inoue. There's so much fights for Bam Bam to win, but it starts with this Saturday. Look, guys, on that note, me tengo que echar unos pedos, bro. Like, me estoy cagando. But have a good Sunday. Enjoy your family, man. Enjoy this beautiful Sunday weather. And, man, go to church, do a little bit of prayers, go out for a little walk, catch some Pokemon, rip open some packs. I'll see you guys on the next one. And yeah, the Mexican G, thank you for tuning in. Vince Vargas, Adi Medi, all of you guys, man. Hey, I gotta go, bro. Like, estoy cagando, bro. Like, can't hold it in.